Check. Check. Check, check, check. Check. Check, check, check. 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 Check, check, check.
They can be in this at any moment. They just gotta up their mental game, let their talent speak.
Amazing placement. What a shot.
A Yahtzee overhead.
Aspect of mental toughness here that's just different.
I like the body language of all 4 players.
Oh, look at that shot! Great hands from Kiro.
Welcome to the 2023-2024 APTA Tour, presented by Volley. We are live from the Short Hills Club in Short Hills, New Jersey, bringing you the 2024 Short Hills Grand Prix, which is the 13th stop on the 2023-2024 APTA Tour, with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership, the APTA national sponsors, Volley and Fusion, and local sponsors, Corient, Maple Crest Ford, New Jersey Men's Platform Tennis Association, Spyro, Harrison and Nelson, Paper Ribbon and Wrap, New Jersey Flex League, Club Pilates, and Smith Chiropractic. I'm David Broderick, along with Hall of Famer Patty Hogan and Connor Breen, bringing you a men's round of 16 match between Tomas Christian and Eric West, taking on Tom Murphy and Andrew Ong. Patty, Connor, welcome, and we're in for a fun match, it looks like, today. What do you think, Patty?
Dave, I can't wait. This is the start of the 73rd event at the Short Hills Invitational. Dave, how many of those years did you run the Short Hills Invitational? 20?
20 years.
20. What a feat, Dave. And Connor, you grew up in the area, junior paddle player from, was it Essex Fells Country Club?
Essex Fells, New Jersey.
You grew up in the hood, and Connor, you came up through the junior ranks, and you're a teaching professional now, and we're glad you're joining us in the announcing booth. And you know, the Short Hills Invitational, 6 tournaments, just a phenomenal thing. Approximately 464 players play in this 3-day event. Dave, why don't you talk about, just before we get into this match, the people who are amazing at this club to pull off this event every year?
Well, you got to, definitely recognize Brian and his Skinner and his wife Crystal as the tournament directors for putting it all together. Jerry Brown and his wife Diane for finding the hut commanders and sort of coordinating all the sites, because they are, as we've always used, many sites. Glenn, the general manager, Bob Cahill, the controller, and the entire staff led by Gosha and her team in the food and beverage. Just do an amazing job at this event year after year, and there are people before them that have carried on the tradition and got us to this point. So we just want to thank all of them for all their years, for what they've done, and their love of platform tennis and carrying on what is the longest running tournament other than the Nationals.
Connor, was this the first tournament? Was this the first national ranking tournament you ever played?
First national ranking tournament I played was with Whit Harwood in the Atlantic Classic in 2015. Whit is a member here at Short Hills Club, so shout out to him.
Nice.
But very excited about this tournament today. One of the best tournaments of the year. I don't know if there's another sporting event this weekend going on, but
I heard that there's a football game, but not until Sunday night around 6:30. So I think that everybody can warm up watching hours and hours of platform tennis. Connor, why don't you tell us about the players on the court?
Absolutely. Nearest to your screen on the right side of the court, we have Tom Murphy out of Indianapolis, and he's with his partner in the gray hoodie, Andrew Ong from Chicago. And then you have Tomas Christian on the far side of the court, on the deuce side, who is the director of rackets at the local club Beacon Hill, and he is partnered with the lefty Eric West out of Chicago.
What's the scoring for this, Connor?
All main draw matches are regular scoring, best 2 out of 3 sets. All back draw matches will be regular scoring, best 2 out of 3, with the third set tie break, which is first at 10 points instead of 7. So we're might be looking at a long match here, especially with Andrew Ong on the court. Loves to play steady, loves to play slow. Tomas Christian as well is no stranger to a long 3-set match. So you might be locked into your seat here for a little while.
And another thing that's going to probably lend itself to a long play is the temperature here in Short Hills. today. I think it was about 62 yesterday. Right now, I think it's about 50 degrees. So really favorable conditions to come out and spectate. If you're anywhere in the area, Short Hills Club are gracious hosts. Any fans of paddle, come over to Short Hills Club, and they even have free beer once it's appropriate time of day to drink free beer.
For those that is 21 and older.
Their hospitality second to none over here, and that's what makes the atmosphere at Short Hills Club as the day goes on is rivals what the Super Bowl will feel like. Is it in Vegas, I heard?
It is in Vegas. Patty, I want to just give you guys a fun fact. Connor's first partner, Whit Harwood, in a Grand Prix event, his uncle is Hall of Famer and all-time great, one of the greatest ever, Steve Baird.
Steve Baird,
Wow.
of Short Hills.
Short Hills member back in the day, of course. Yes, Nancy Harwood, Whit's mother, Steve's sister, is still a member of the Short Hills Club, and long family history in the platform tennis world.
Speaking of Steve Baird, I mean, we have an illustrious past with so many great national champions, Hall of Famers coming out of the Short Hills Club. Dave, I ran into Pete Grunberg, former junior national champ, Open national champ. I think he played with Artie Williams and both of those. We know he played with Artie. Pete grew up here, and quick nod to Hans, Pete's dad. Great member, longtime member of the Short Hills Club.
His mom, Rachel.
Rachel, we send our condolences to all of them. Sally, Mark, Ellen, Rachel, of course, for your family. Hans was a great supporter of paddle, loved everything paddle, and just kind of embodied the spirit that the Short Hills Invitational represents.
Hans was able to get the gas pipes it put in for the platform tennis court heaters.
He was a visionary.
He was. And Patty and Connor, it looks like we're about to get started.
That's Eric West serving.
We have the lefty at the net, Eric West. We have his partner, Tomas Christian, in the blue.
So this will be the pace of play. Sometimes you wonder how it's going to develop. We're not going to wonder with Murphy and Ong from the baseline. They're out here. They're going to get their money's worth for this tournament. They have a willingness to put 1,000 lobs up in every point they play.
Absolutely, and with this warm weather, you're not going to see them hitting too hard at the net. They're going to be playing steady. You don't want to overhit lead balls high in this warmer weather. It's going to hit almost 60 today. They're going to be playing slow, waiting for the perfect opportunity to create offense from the net here. We'll be looking to see Tom Murphy create a lot of the offense from the backcourt. Andrew Ong looking to be the setup guy, loves to lob, great lobber from that backside. Could be very patient and steady long points for him.
I think today is going to be a big test to see who has overheads that can end points, because in this weather, as long as the ball's going into the screen or the pace we're playing at, it's going to be tough to get players to miss shots. I think it's going to come down to who's going to be able to do more with their overheads, quite honestly.
Dave, I totally agree, because I think at some point you're going to have to figure out how you can open up the court a little bit. So who's got the spins? We know Thomas Christian is known. He's got like a snap roller that will be an effective shot. But I think when you have a lefty-righty, you know, any team can pick who's going to hit more of the overheads. And, you know, this is the early going, but I would expect to see some evil lefty overheads coming out of Eric West.
That lefty spin is going to play into their favor. And again, this is still the first point. Teams are just trying to figure each other out.
And the thing is, because of live streaming and so many tournaments on the 16-stop APTA Tour, these guys know exactly what to expect of each other. Tom Murphy lives in Indianapolis, Indiana. He played tennis at Dayton, where he was inducted into the Tennis Hall of Fame. Andrew Ong lives out in Chicago. He played at Duquesne. And he works for Ernst & Young. Tom Murphy sells medical devices, I believe. 2 non-pros out here on the live stream.
All right, the first point goes to Christian West. Long point there. You see West serving to Ong. You look for the switch to the net to get the forehands in the middle. Ong will look to blitz off of his lobs. He is quick. Not going to look to create too much offense off of his drive, but will look to blitz off of a good deep lob here.
There we see the roller overhead by Tomas Christian. And I think today, again, with the warmer weather, I think you're going to see more of the overheads as well, aimed more at the nick to try to get that misinformation as to is it going to be a side back or a back side, where I think today that's going to be a big play.
I think Ong is going to have to figure out tactically. I think he's going to have to lob really well into spots to create offense for Murphy in that deuce court. From what we could see in that first game, West and Christian just sat back a few steps inside the service line. There wasn't a threat of a drive from Ong.
No
so
fear
those guys are right there, and they're just kind of hanging out, waiting for another lob. So unless Ong, like he missed that on game point, did a roller, because he was thinking, okay, I'm going to have to mix it up. And I think he's really going to have to spot his lobs really well for them to be competitive. I feel like Christian and West, I've watched them practice over at Beacon Hill. West flew in town. He works with robots, and he's able to work remotely. So those guys are working on their game a lot this week, getting a lot of hits in, and they looked really confident. And it was warm weather, so I feel like their willingness to sit back and just wait this match out, I think they'll. I think they'll prevail. I just don't think Murphy and Ong will have enough against them. They're such great defensive players and such speed that West and Christian have. I would say it's their match to lose.
I agree, Patty. For Murphy Ong to win, you really need to see Tom Murphy connect on his drives. You want him batting almost 90% at least on his forehand drive. You don't want him missing long. It's going to come down to Murphy at the end of the day to win points from that backcourt.
Well, I think they'll throw a little one right over to Murphy's forehand because they know he's going to pull the trigger. And you saw West just stand there and didn't close in. Murphy hits it pretty hard, pretty flat, I would say. I don't think it's like a dipping ball necessarily, which allows two guys who are positioned a little further back to volley pretty comfortably from off the net.
Even if we go back to that last game, Patty and Connor, like Murphy and Ong missed 2 returns to serve, which on a day like today you just can't do. You can't. I think points are going to be a premium to win. I don't really think you can give away easy points. As I tell everyone I coach and teach that, you know what? You get 1 missed return serve per set. I think they filled their quota, and they're going to have to be a little bit more consistent and not give away free points.
Tomas Christian lives in Hoboken. He played at LaSalle, big-time tennis player. He crushes a forehand. He's got that forehand roller we referred to earlier. Eric West, born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, played for Oklahoma State. He was the Oklahoma High School Player of the Year in 2008.
Murphy Ong avoiding the middle. Obviously, with the lefty-ready team in the backcourt, you have 2 forehands in the middle. So they're going to be trying to find a side wire when they can. Don't want to leave balls short over the middle to this team.
Christian and West currently ranked 11th in the country. This tournament is huge for their hopes to position themselves for a higher position in the draw at Nationals.
This team has played together before, Christian and West. They played the Short Hills Grand Prix last season as well. We see a missed drive a little wide. Tomas Christian is no stranger to playing with a lefty. He's played with Drew Broderick for a few years now. He played with Chris Humphreys, the home pro here at Short Hills at the Atlantic Classic, so very comfortable playing with the lefty. So we'll see how they fare today.
Little miscommunication there in the middle. I don't think that ball really spun as far as Eric West thought it was going to.
This warmer weather, if you're the backcourt team, you want to look into mix some drives in off the screens. You will have net teams leaving some balls high. You want to look to create offense off those screens when you can in this warmer environment. Tomas fakes the drive, sends up the lob. He's going to be looking.
I think throughout this match for all the players, I think that's going to be a critical part is, you know, when the baseline team, you know, sort of changes up their pattern and maybe lobs a ball that they should normally drive or drives a ball that they would normally lob. I think just because of the weather conditions and the play, you know, I think it's going to come down to really good decision making from the baseline team, especially if they want to break serve.
Absolutely. So far, Ong taking the majority of the overheads at the net here, controlling the pace of play.
Patty, do you think it helps that Tomas Christian does have experience in playing high-level, long matches throughout his career?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what his comfort zone is. Absolutely. He plays a high percentage, low risk type of game, but he can bring it, and he'll bring it with his forehand when he has an opportunity. But he has that mindset. Having played a lot of paddle with Drew Broderick, you know, he bought into the concept that, hey, we can stand out here, we don't have to force the play, and we'll let others make the mistakes. And I think, you know, if he doesn't feel that there's any, like, an offensive threat coming from that other team, I think it just almost helps him even more.
Right.
That's just a little bit of a difference. I think, you know, Eric and Tomas can bring it lights out. I mean, the sound of the ball coming off Eric West's paddle, Dave, on two-handed backhands off his forehand. And I think, you know, to Murphy and Ong's credit out here, they're not going to give away anything easily either. They know they're a little bit of an underdog in this match, but they also have the mindset that, you know, one of their natural weapons is patience, and that's what they use as an asset. But that's what I'm saying, just the defensive abilities of West and Tomas Christian when Murphy and Ong do pull the trigger, I just don't see him missing many volleys.
Right. And I also believe that for Murphy and Ong, they can't just lob the ball and let Christian and West sort of casually hit push overheads down the middle of the court. They look very casual in it. There's no fear factor right now. There's not a lot of movement. I think Murphy and Ong are going to have to create movement when Christian and West are at the net.
Yeah, we just had a 3-point swing. Murphy Ong were up 40-15, and now it's advantage towards Christian West. Back to deuce.
What a serve.
And there's an example where the serve goes towards the nick, and it creates a little confusion. And again, I think that's going to be a big part of not only in this match, but all the matches to come today is, you know, aiming for the nick to create a little confusion to end the point.
Dave, name the player in your mind over the last 2 decades hit more nicks than anyone on his overhead.
Ooh, probably Mark Parsons with the big
That's
roller.
Exactly who I was thinking about. He had an uncanny ability from anywhere in the court to hit that nick.
Mark's famous backhand roller. Hopefully we'll see Mark back on the court here soon.
Also, we want to let everyone know out there with the backhand roller that Mark is a trained professional.
Mark's a professional.
You might not want to try that.
4-time national
home,
champ.
Right?
That's why he can do it. Most people can do it on. People who can do the roller typically will do it off their forehand. And Parsons hit 1 million rollers off his forehands, hit the nick, and he threw in the backhand just to deliver the final dagger.
Look at how casual Christian and West are. Just waiting for a short ball. Maybe hitting an offensive shot every 8th or 9th overhead.
you know, you saw West sneak in there, the lefty, because he thought maybe a little offensive shot was coming. If they know it's not coming, then they'll just hang out. Yesterday I saw Eric West practicing his serve. It's pretty warm, and I'm watching him hit the serve so hard the ball's coming back over the net in the warm weather. I'll be curious if he goes for some blasts today.
Patty, if the serve comes back over the net, is that a loss of point or you win the point?
Well, have you ever done it, Dave?
I have not. I have not. That's why that's one of the rules I don't know. It's never been a question.
Doesn't it have to be returnable? The person has to have an opportunity to touch it?
I believe that is true.
That is a loss of point. If you hit the nick and it goes back over the net on your opponent's side, you do lose the point. I have not done it. I have had it happen to me.
Hey, Dave, and kind of real fast, a quick shout out additionally, Short Hills Club to Derek Bowen and Christina Bowen. They're part of the committee, and Mark Embrick, who did a great job with sponsorship. And we'll keep talking about the amazing people involved with the Short Hills Club and this tournament throughout the weekend. Dave, I cut you off before you could finish your shout out.
As most of the people here know at Short Hills, I can't talk for a while if allowed to.
Dave, true or false? Short Hills, founded in 1875, is the third oldest tennis club in the country.
Ooh, that's definitely false.
What is it, Dave? Where do we rank in history?
We are currently the second oldest rackets club in America here at the Short Hills Club. Only to be outdone by the Country Club of New Orleans, which is a grass court tennis facility.
Is there any paddle in Rackets Club of New Orleans, Dave?
There is not. There is not.
Oh.
Fun fact, former NJMPTA president Jimmy Irwin has played tennis at the Country Club of New Orleans.
I'm going to say true on that, Dave.
Oh, that wasn't a question. It was a fun fact. It's absolutely true.
For those who know Jimmy Irwin, he's been around the block. Of course, showing face at the in New Orleans playing tennis. Former head of the New Jersey State Men's Paddle League here.
Who served longer, Jimmy Irwin running the Men's Paddle League or Dave Broderick as director of rackets at Short Hills Club? Connor?
Ooh, that is a great question, Patty.
Not even close.
I'm going to say Jimmy Irwin.
Oh, that hurts.
True or false, Dave?
False.
Ah, David.
Connor, in 1875, when the Short Hills Club was founded, Milburn was the nation's largest billiard ball maker. True or false?
You know, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say true.
How about that? I didn't learn that till this week.
I'll tell you what, I want to tell you that back in 1875, it was the Short Hills Track Club.
Dave, that was my last true and false for
All
you.
right.
You knew the answer.
All right.
And back in 1875, the initiation fee to join Connor, was it $10, $100, or $1,000?
I'm going to go low, Patty. I'm going to say $10.
Spot on, as always, Connor. $10 initiation fee. It's a little bit more now with inflation.
And we see here Christian West with the break of serve to take a 2-0 lead in the first set in this round of 16 match of the Short Hills Invitational Grand Prix over Murphy and Ong.
Coming in. You know, for Murphy Ong to start winning some points at the baseline, there it is. You want to see Ong start looking to blitz, take control of the net. Like we said before, he's not going to create a ton of offense off of his ground strokes, but he is quick. In this warmer weather, it's favorable to, take a charge at the net. That ball will stay in play if you don't quite get the blitz. So looking to do something just to rattle Christian West a little bit here.
And it's interesting that Murphy and Ong did everything perfect to set that great drive up through the middle. And here we are 30 balls later, we're still in the point. That's, I think, again, that's going to be the type of day it's going to be.
See there, Ong still presses, but he knows he can stay close to the net because the ball will sit in the court for a while. Doesn't have to fully give up the net, still pushing, and there a missed drive from Murphy.
Did you see the hang time on that overhead Eric West threw in there? I'm kind of amazed that, it landed right inside the baseline. We don't talk usually about that shot with such excitement, but that was a phenomenal shot where he just neutralized, dump it short, and Murphy followed up 2 shots later and with the miss. Dave, when you were playing matches and you were favored to win the match, you probably had Blake Anderson as your partner. That would probably tilt the scales toward you guys being favored to win that.
Well,
what was your mindset like when here you have Christian and West, and you're Ong and Murphy trying to figure out, okay, these guys are a higher placed team, ranked higher in the country. Somewhat, similar styles, I would call it. Tempo of play here clearly seems similar. But for when you're the favorite guy, how often do you have to go for it?
I think when you're favored to win the match, I don't think you really ever have to go for it because, the only way that I think Ong and Murphy can actually beat Christian and West is going to be if Christian and West hit balls to give Murphy and Ong really good opportunities. Like you see there, balls are going side to side to side to side, and Christian and West, they created that opportunity for Murphy and Ong. I think if they just play straight up, and know that if they play high percentage, high probability paddle, they should do well. The only way I think right now, if you look at it on paper, that Murphy and Ong can hurt Christian and West is if Christian and West create opportunities. Now, on the other side of the coin, if you're Murphy and Ong, they've got to move their lobs around. They've got to look to create opportunities or create movement to get opportunities for themselves during this match.
Absolutely. Christian West looked very comfortable at the net, almost locked into the same spot, not moving too much. You want to move him around, look to press, look to blitz. Just make him a little uncomfortable if you can. Great drive by Murphy.
Catching West poaching on that one.
Yeah, he hit behind him. Really smart return.
There's that
Great serve from Christian, 2 in a row.
Into the nick.
Really good serves.
And I will tell you, even in the early goings, when Christian and West are at the net, I don't love their overheads that are going from side to side and not getting into screens. So far, it hasn't hurt them, but again, I think those are opportunities for Ong and Murphy that they can take advantage of a little bit more than they are.
Want to give a shout out to our official in the umpire's chair, Scott Berkeley out of Ramsey. Thanks for helping us out today, Scott.
Actually, Connor, I think we've had an umpire change. I believe that is Rackets chairman Mike Davis from the Short Hills Club up in the chair. Braving the warm weather today. And I think we have to applaud all the umpires. Today's kind of a luxury day, I think, for them with the weather conditions where you know, you get some of our volunteers that are up there umpiring, and you know, some of the days are a little colder, a little bit rainier, and hats off to all them for helping out and doing the job that they do.
And the Short Hills Invitational, and you know, would never be possible, of course, if it wasn't for Brian Skinner running the show. But I'd like to thank all the area clubs, because it is a phenomenal generosity of spirit that all these clubs understand. For Short Hills Club every year, 73 years, to bring off, you know, to pull off this incredible event, you need all the clubs in the area to buy in, and they all give up their court. So at some point we'll give you a rundown of all the clubs who give up their court, and it's a great opportunity for the members from all those clubs. I mean, anywhere you are around North Jersey, go to any of the clubs all day long, and you're going to see high-level play. If you can't tune into this all the time, go watch. And Short Hills Club will be rocking this afternoon and all day Sunday. Come out. We've got men's semifinals starting on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, followed by the women's finals at 10:30, followed by the men's finals. To follow that, followed by the Super Bowl. What a lineup this weekend.
That is a Sunday right there. I
That
can't think
is
of
a
a better
Sunday.
way to lead up to the Super Bowl other than coming to the Short Hills Club for Championship Sunday.
Wait, you mean Sunday's not a Taylor Swift concert? Is the Super Bowl?
I've heard of her. Who's she, Dave?
She, listen, you got to tip your hat to her. She's flying from, I believe, Tokyo to come make it to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's amazing. What a hardship for her to get on her private jet. Get there, wow.
You got to applaud the effort. It's a varsity attitude. You see a really good overhead by Tomas Christian, who has that ability to put balls away. And I think, you know, throughout his years, he's picking and choosing.
Okay, so Connor, how long has this match gone on so far? Can you look at our producer's intel for 3 games? It's top secret information we're sharing in a second.
So 3 games has been about 25 minutes here, pushing on a half hour. And if you're Christian West, that's a huge momentum game on that last hold. 3-0 feels a lot different from 2-1, so they're feeling good going into Murphy's serve here.
Connor, Dave, as you know, there's 6 tournaments going on this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yesterday, we saw the completion of the men's 95 plus. And kudos to Adrian Buckley and Erica Matuski, who beat Mike Davis, the umpire in this match, and Mike Stulak to take the honors. Congrats to Jenny Sowers and Anat Stein. They beat Becky Campbell and Ellis Sadum in the finals of the women's B. Then in the 105 plus event, looks like Nikki Mullen and Katie Orr took home the honors over Erin Caruso and I believe Mindy Hess. Congratulations to all of the players, over 464 players participating. APTA's got tournaments for every level of play, and Short Hills Club tops every tournament by a ton because they run every tournament the same weekend. Monster undertaking. Talk about putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Brian Skinner and his teams, they've got this nailed.
And what doesn't get enough credit is the player lunch here at Short Hills. One of the best lunches on the tour, so shout out to the staff here at the Short Hills Club for making it a great day for the players, making sure they're well fed, everyone's accommodated. See Ong back in the deuce court here. There's earlier, and there's the switch, getting Murphy back to the deuce side, Ong in the ad.
I'll tell you, for Murphy and Ong, I'm not loving the fact that 90% of this match so far, West and Christian have been at the net. I don't know if that's going to be, they kind of haven't proven that they can win a bulk of points from the baseline. And again, I just don't see any fear factor or much movement from the team of Christian and West when they're at the net.
Dave, for Murphy Ong, the best shot from the baseline is Murphy's forehand. So I'm curious why you think he's playing over in the deuce and not the ad.
Is an interesting question, and I don't know, maybe they thought Eric West was going to be hitting the majority of the overheads as a lefty, and maybe he'd have to cross Murphy's forehand every time, but it doesn't really seem to be the case. West is very content with keeping the ball away from the Murphy forehand because, again, when Tomas Christian, a player of his caliber, is next to you, he can put overheads away, so it's really not a disadvantage to let Tomas play that shot, play the overhead. West can set it up and Tomas can kind of end it. Like, that's the ball they got away with it, but I'm a little skeptical about in this warm weather.
There's that Nick, Dave. For Murphy Ong, if you want to stay in this match, you need a game here early. Just keep the momentum. Give yourself some momentum. Not let it get away from you in the first set. Looking for something positive. Even if you drop that first set, you want to have a few positive things going into that second. Look to keep yourself in the match.
And you look at that volley, and I think that's a critical mistake because Ong and Murphy having trouble winning points. You can't give away points and miss easy shots. Not saying that was an easy shot, but that's when I think Murphy's going to make 99 out of 100 times. It's just right now, that was the wrong time to miss that volley. And then you see, it followed up by a big return of serve by West, and here we are now at a break point to go love 4 down. I don't love that shot cross court. It allows West and Christian to create movement.
I would like to see Murphy take some more overheads, mix it up a little bit. There he is right on top of the net.
Good anticipation right there by Murphy, seeing that Christian was going to come with the big forehand, and he gets right on top of the net and hit a great drop shot.
See, Murphy could add a little bit more cut to the ball, maybe disrupt them at the baseline a little bit. Return wide there. Just give them a different look. Give Christian West a different look while they're at the baseline.
You go.
Really good serve there by Murphy to get Ong Murphy on the board at 1-3.
Now you have something positive in this match. You're down, love 3. You have 1 game to work with and something to build on. Give you some kind of momentum, something positive to look at. If you're Murphy Ong here, you want another long game. Forehand missed in the net.
Yep. Come on, make that ball. 30-15. Stay. Yeah. Gotcha. Yep. He's in.
There's that blitz from Ong.
Gotcha.
You can still press and get away with it. That ball will sit in the air for a while.
Connor, Dave, I'm looking at this men's draw, the teams that are in the round of 16s. This draw is as strong a draw as we have one team out of the top men teams. Salazar and Rigolato are the only team not playing here. Everybody else, it's like a who's who in the sport. Incredible depth. We got Deron Mitchell out there in their 16s playing against Czerwinski, Nolan. We got Broderick and Palmer. The band's back together. playing a round of 16s against Boston Rams. We've got this match, and the other match on the top half of the draw is Bacher Baxter, who are out there right now against host pro Chris Humphreys and his partner Felipe Osasconi. Dave, do we have a clarification on a rule that we screwed up?
I don't know. I'm researching that right now. I'm waiting
Okay.
for the production team to bring us that information.
You know, going back to this draw, Patty, very excited to see Roderick Palmer back together, playing in the Short Hills Invitational. Feels like 2016 all over again.
That's right. We've got Burrs and Nunez playing in the bottom half of the draw. They're up against Prasenko Vauclair. We've got Dennis and Friedrich. They're playing against McNerney, who's teamed up with the one and only Mark Powers in the round of 16 match. That's going to be an exciting team to watch. De Jose and Wiedemann pulled out a win over Benkheim Granger in the first round. They advanced to the second round, are currently out on the court against Hanson Wright. And Frazier Morgan are awaiting the winner of Rosenhaus Stulak, Heck, and Hirsch.
If you're Christian West, you're still looking to hold your serves here. You have a good lead early. You don't want to get broken. Let Murphy Ong somehow slip back into this match. You want to hold serve.
So, Patty, we do have clarification. A serve that hits the nick or the back screen and comes over the net, if not touched by the returning team, it is the server's point.
What if you touch it but you miss?
Well, here's the next question. If you run around the net and you touch it, do you have to be in the green or can you step in the blue?
I would step in the blue at that point. If that opportunity presented to me, I would step in the blue.
Well, you might be able to hit the ball, but you would also, I believe, lose the point. But if anybody else out there wants to give me more rules lessons, I'm happy to know them and learn.
That was from Derek Yost out of Philly. Thanks, Derek, for listening in and correcting our mistakes, because it's going to happen often. Thank you.
We just want to keep all the viewers out there sharp and know that they're paying attention.
The Women's Grand Prix event going on. Hanish Zabori are the top half of the draw, and they have a quarterfinal matchup at 2 o'clock with Short Hill's very own Kerry Delmonico, who's playing with Lauren Gebbia. We'll talk about that a little bit after the next break.
Murphy's still looking for that forehand. You'll see him shift to the middle to try to find some looks. There it is. All right, and we have Christian West in the changeover up 4-1. And Volley is the proud sponsor of the APTA. As the first AI-enabled training experience, Volley modernizes racket sports by delivering the on-demand dynamic system for live play training and better workouts. Volley creates a community to connect pros and players while giving personalized performance insights to track progress and customize their practice. Ask your pro about a Volley lesson today. For more information, visit get.volley.com.
Connor, how great is that volley machine? Have you had the opportunity to have a workout with
Absolutely, and it's great for pros and their members alike. You know, you can incorporate, if you're a rackets pro at a club, you can incorporate them into your lessons. And, you know, if you want just a quick 30-minute workout, if you're a player, you can take it out, work on the specific shots you need. You don't have to find, you know, an extra body to come feed you balls or anything. So really excited about this, you know, being added to our game here. Murphy looking for that roller to the nick. West not going to let it go through. Again, trying to avoid the middle. You have the forehands in the middle if you're Christian West. Going to see Murphy Ong looking to find those side wires and corners when they can.
Here's my question to both of you right now. At 1-4 down, does Murphy Ong have a different strategy that they can try to potentially get back in this first set, or maybe turn the tide for the second set if they don't win it?
You know, I would like to see Murphy take some more overheads when they're at the net. Ong is a very flat overhead. If he leaves it short, he will add some spins to it, but
he's
Murphy,
not winning points.
Exactly. And you want to see Murphy add something a little bit different, create a little bit more offense when they're at the net here.
Yeah, I think with the speed at which Murphy, the way he hits his overhead, it's like a much faster kind of swing at the ball. It's hard to explain the difference, but I think his ball definitely comes off the paddle with a little more spin than Andrew Ong's overhead. But clearly, you know, Ong wants to be the player on that side of the two of them at the net. Facing the net, he clearly gets himself on that left position, but that's a better overhead. I think that opened up the court potentially a little bit.
Ong can create that spin if they leave the lob short, but Murphy definitely has more RPMs on his overheads when he's at the net.
And I think a lot of it depends on who their opponent is. I don't think it's causing any panic for the team of Christian and West. If they're, you know, maybe in a previous round or previous other opponents, different opponents, it might be a little bit more effective. But so far in the early goings of this, it's not creating any panic for the West and Christian team.
Wow, great playing from Eric West. Good hands at the net from Murphy.
I was going to say, Murphy played great defense
Right.
on that. Yeah. Eric West is feeling it right now.
Got it.
I think Eric West feels it all the time, Dave. I think he's just, what a ball striker. Like I said, I watched him the last couple of days practice, and there's not one ball that comes off his paddles that's not pure sweet spot, you know, point of contact. It's incredible.
That is a big hold for Murphy Ong. Just to give yourself some momentum, going back to that point, Eric West displaying a ton of athleticism, moving all over the court there, can drive the forehand and the backhand. Eric West, no stranger to winning tournaments. He won the Philly Open with Juan Araya last year, so he has played in some big matches before. You know, if he gets comfortable with the right partner, could be a top 5, top 10 player in the country.
See, like right there, I think Ong's got to put more pressure and just can't let Christian sort of loop that ball short to his forehand. And if nothing else, just to make Christian and West think about what's the next shot coming at the net.
And you can just see Christian in the short sleeve blue shirt, you know, and West, they're just playing comfortably off the net. And you know, they're not barreling to get on top of the net because there's not a threat of that short ball in front of them.
Bounce that.
There's that blitz from Ong. Going to take control of the net here.
But I love that from Ong. That's,
Absolutely.
he's got to do stuff. He's got to be creative here.
And I think that's the way his quickness, he can create opportunities for them, for Murphy and Ong. And again, that could be the blitzing off the overhead, could be another way to add a little bit of pressure to the team of Christian and West when they're at the net.
I think the blitz is almost their only offense that we can see that they,
So far going on, and
you know, that
really good lob there to see the team of Christian and West back up on the net.
Long first point here, already 2 net exchanges, looking for the nick.
the amount of time in this match West and Christian have been at the net versus the baseline, Is it still 90% West and Christian here, would you guys say?
Absolutely.
They have dominated the net play.
Great backhand drive off the screen from Ong. Again, with this warm weather, you want to look to create offense off the screen. That ball will sit up there. If you're the net player, got to be right on top of the net. There it is again. Great volleys from Christian.
You see that one-handed topspin backhand from
Yeah, Tom
Tom
Murphy.
Murphy. Kind of,
Well, I think he just lined it up, Dave, and went right at Christian just to see what Christian would do with it. He wasn't trying to hit a winner, but he was trying to definitely bring a little bit more heat and just see if Christian, hits a volley short and gives Ong something, maybe.
I believe Eric West touched the net on that last point to result in them losing it.
he did. And again, a great example of sportsmanship between all the players out here.
See, there it is. You can go for the blitz, and with that ball sitting in the air, it's okay if you can't get a paddle on it. You see Murphy coming over to cover for his partner. Here we have another net exchange off the good lob. If Murphy Ong can get a game here, they're right back in this game, in this match.
It's kind of hard to believe. You watch this match, you see, who's sort of been in control of the match, who's dominated the net play. And the reality is Murphy and Ong are only one break down. To your point, if they break serve here, we're right back on serve.
And this is the thing, those guys are up 3-0, Christian West. And this is why everybody plays paddle. You have no idea what's gonna change up, and just give a team a tiny bit of hope that they can put together a couple strings of points, pull off a game, because the pace of play was so deliberate and so slow from the onset. I mean, not for 1 minute was it anything aggressive.
And we all know that, momentum can switch on a single point.
Speaking of missed drive from Murphy, you need to see him connect on his forehand. It's the best offensive shot they have from the backcourt, so you want to see him making his forehand drives. Christian leaving the serve high on that screen to Murphy, able to capitalize.
And I think, Connor, to your point, if Murphy is going to miss the big forehand, it can't be in the net.
Absolutely.
He's got to make West and Christian make a decision or make a volley. And as we know, I'm sure he's not trying to miss it into the net. But, maybe give himself a little bit more margin for error. And again, make them make a decision or make them just make a volley. Really good poach there. Ooh. But that's the right play.
Right
Gets on
play,
top
right
of the net.
idea.
Good anticipation.
West showed the drive early. Murphy stepping in just a little long. Warm weather induced. This warmer weather, you'll see volleys going long here. Drives going long as well.
I got you. Hey.
For Christian West, there you go. Hold for Christian West going up 5-2 in this first set. If you're Christian West at the net, you want to stay steady like you were in those first few games where you went up 3 games to love. You don't want to pull the trigger too early when it's not there. Wait, play your game, control the pace, the tempo at the net here, which they did in that last one.
And I think for Christian and West, that's a big hold. I've talked about this many times where it's creating separation. 4-3 serving or 3-4 serving is a way different feeling than 2-5 serving, because as I can be Captain Obvious, but it is a must-hold situation, and that just adds a lot of different pressure. We saw at the end there, Ong missed sort of a half-speed drive, and I was thinking about it, and Patty, I wanted to ask you, do you think the half-speed drive has a place in the men's game these days?
I mean, it's got to be at the exact right time after tons of consecutive shots have gone on, because these guys are so fast. They have such athleticism and range, and the length of shots they can cover, where that off speed is so dangerous. And it's a huge risk reward to hit the off speed, I would say, for the most part. I think in the women's game it's totally different. They don't have the wingspan. You can open up the court and go off speed more to spots. But it seems like it's awfully dangerous at the high level to throw that off speed ball and not have the shot just picked off. But maybe in the warmer weather, because people can't do as much to the ball. And you're trying, to Connor's point, you're saying, it's a little harder to control volleys in the warmer weather. It's a little harder to control drives in the warmer weather. So maybe in the warmer weather, probably have a better chance of, if you float it and the guy picks it off, what he can do to it would be limited with the high bouncing ball at 55 degrees. Did I answer your question, Dave?
You did, and I mean, I think just one more thing to add to it is I think the volleying skill of the players, men and women in the game today, is just, it used to come down to, and it still does, but at a much higher level, the best volleyers tend to win matches. And I think that's been true historically.
Do they win matches, Dave, or do they not lose?
Well, they didn't lose matches is exactly right. Because we all know that it's very hard to win a match and hit 48 winners. Patty, have you ever seen anyone hit 48 winners to win a match?
Junior nationals. Boys 15s, maybe. I think that Kuzak kid did it. Kuzak Pilar. One of the teams to look for the upcoming Junior Nationals, first Saturday in March. Connor, you're going to be around helping us that day. We're hoping we can rope Dave in a little bit.
Absolutely.
We'll be live streaming thanks to my paddle that day from Canoe Brook Country Club.
Hey, you. Help.
Christian letting West take all those overheads. I think in this warmer weather, it does favor the lefty spin. That ball will jump a lot more than usual. Missed drive for Murphy. You want to make him volley, like we said before.
But I'm going to be honest with you. I felt like Christian and West took advantage and won that point 40 shots ago when Eric hit the forehand drive out wide to Murphy, creating the down-the-line opportunity to let them get to the net. And, we just kind of look at it where, when the ball goes out, a lot of us think that's when the point was won or lost. But, I thought Eric West made an amazing drive to create openings and opportunity, which allowed them to win that point.
It's another fine point, Dave. Good observation. All right.
That cord.
They'll take a little lucky shot.
There's winner number one.
And there's that missed volley. Again, so warm out there than usual this time of year.
He was a little casual in his approach to the net, possibly there.
Yeah, and I would still, at every level, I'd still love to see a backhand first volley. It just makes it so much more easier to control, I believe.
Right, and he just didn't commit either or, and he tried at the last second to flip his paddle over and unsuccessful. When it's 30 degrees, that ball stays in.
Good close there by Andrew Ong.
Christian taking advantage of that high ball on the screen. You know, if you're Murphy, he's leaving a lot of these serves high. I'm wondering if you want to take a little pace off of it, especially serving to West. You want to take away any offensive opportunity you can from that team.
Actually, a big forehand there by Murphy. I think going back to the previous point, too, I think, you know, that was just a little bit of a change in the tactics. That's kind of the first time we saw Christian pull out the big two-handed backhand out of that corner.
And that Murphy ball that he just forced the error, it was a dipping forehand, Dave and Connor, and I think that's what he's got to do. You know, the guy can bring the heat, but I think when he hits flat, when he hits the flatter drive, it just feeds into West and Christian's ability to just, they're playing just inside the service line, 2 steps, and they can volley anything from there. But if Murphy can bring that dipping ball, it will force the players, it will force Christian and West to play in a little closer, opening up the court a little bit more for lobs.
Absolutely, Patty. You want a little bit more heavy topspin in this warmer weather, and there we have the first set.
We'll be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel, presented by My Paddle.
Ready for a whole new training experience? Welcome to Volley. At Volley, we've developed the first AI training system for racket sports, providing pros with the advanced teaching tools they've been waiting for, and giving players a new way to level up their game and enhance their time on the court. Ask your pro about a Volley lesson today and learn what Volley can do for you. We'll see you on the court.
The APTA Tour, we are live from the Short Hills Club, bringing you the 2024 Short Hills Grand Prix. We are in a round of 16 match between Tomas Christian and Eric West, taking on Tom Murphy and Andrew Ong. Christian and West have won the first set in a tight set, although the score was 6-2. It was a little bit of a tight set. I'm here with Patty Hogan and Connor Breen. And Patty, what did you think about the first set? Again, as long as the score says 6-2, but you know it was one break and then they broke to win the set, but it was a lot tighter than that.
It was tight. There were a couple games where, you know, early going, I thought West and Christian were going to run with it. And to Murphy and Ong's credit, they definitely mixed in a little bit of shots, got on the board, got one lucky let cord. You know, I was thinking about what they need to do. You guys are talking about maybe get Murphy hitting more of the overheads. You know, I think West and Christian are totally content to play this pace of play all day long, and I think this is going to be on the hands of Murphy and Ong to come out here, try some different shot combinations, and like I said, some of those off-speed drives maybe just to like pull them up and try to open up the court a little bit. And if I were them, I think I'd lob Christian a little bit more here. We see West kind of taking more of the lefty overhead, so I think it might behoove them to maybe lob Christian up the line a little bit, or just put Christian, take it out of Eric West's hands and see what Christian does from some deeper overheads. It's hard to lob deep, though, when it's 53 degrees or whatever it is, getting warm. But again, you know, incredible volleying from West and Christian. How many volleys have you seen them miss in this match so far? Like 2
not
combined?
Many. Yeah, not many at all. And again, I think, you know, going forward to the second set, I think it's going to be up to Murphy and Ong to make a change, because Christian and West have really no reason to change their game plan, strategy, or tactics.
This is Eric West leading off in the second set. That's Tomas Christian up at the net in the blue short sleeve t-shirt. This is Andrew Young returning out of the ad court, and that's Tom Murphy over in the deuce court dressed in all black.
And Dave, there's your first missed return of the set right there. As you said earlier, you know, teaching pros usually say only 1 missed return per set. Get it out of the way early, I guess, if you're Tom Murphy. I think if you want to stay in this match, keep it competitive, it's going to come down to Tom Murphy making drives and winning the points from the backcourt when you need to. Talking about how warm it is, but earlier, you want to see them maybe add a little bit more spin as opposed to the flatter ball. Looking to rattle Christian West at some point, and if you're Ong, you can get involved by mixing in some blitzes. So it'll be interesting to see what they do here to try to get Christian West off their game.
Well, they got to do something different. I just think lobbing every ball to Eric West is not going to be the answer for them. I think, like I said, they've got to spread out Christian and West a little bit. And I'd like to see Tomas have to go back and handle some of the deeper lobs. I think because you see West there, his ability to close in. He's got that lefty, he can cover a lot of court.
Yeah, West really displaying some great athleticism out there. Getting some short balls. He's in the backcourt. He'll step in front of Christian at times to take some drives. As you said before, both players volleying so well.
So Dave, I'm going to put you on the spot. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
One of the things about the Short Hills tournament is, the culture around it here, the spectators, the fans. I mean, there's no place like this environment once we get later in the day here. And like we said, this takes a paddle community. New Jersey loves paddle, loves their high-level paddle. We want to do a quick shout-out to all the clubs who are participating and giving up their courts this weekend. Dave, I'm going to name the club. I want you to name some player who embodies the spirit of platform tennis at that club off the top of your head. Are you ready? You're on the spot.
I'm ready.
Canoebrook Country Club.
Ooh. Ian McDonald.
Fairmont Country Club.
Mark Palomeni.
Orange Lawn.
Tommy Bass.
There's no one better than Tom Bass. Rackets Club of Short Hills.
Ooh, Leslie Stiska.
Beacon Hill Club.
Beacon Hill Club. John and Ellen Birchenall.
Fiddler's Elbow.
Ooh, probably Stuart Green.
Montclair Golf Club.
Carol Yurtsin.
Morris County Golf Club.
Rob Scanone.
Essex Hunt Club.
Ooh, this is going to be a tough one. I'm going to say, come back to me on that one.
Minisink.
Minisink.
Dave, who do you got? I'll go Jenna McClintock.
Jenna McClintock,
Okay,
yeah.
Morristown Field Club. I'm going to speed it up, Dave.
Morristown Field Club. Rick Solomon.
Trump Bedminster. Sabrina and Karen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Megan. Essex Fells Country Club.
Connor
Breen.
Melissa Lucane.
Mendham Golf and Tennis. Priscilla.
Priscilla McElhaney.
I'm answering for you, Dave.
All
Park
right.
Lakes.
Park Lake. Bob Engdahl.
Plainfield Country Club. The McDevitt's. Echo
Absolutely.
Lake Country Club.
George Bell.
Dave, that was good. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but there's so many great people who have been passionate fans of platform tennis forever, past, present, future, and we couldn't have this. Short Hills could never pull this event off without generosity of all those 16 clubs within about 20 miles here, making this extra special event for the spectators, for the players, for everybody.
Such a great day for New Jersey paddle. And the Short Hills Club is home to not one but two of the best tournaments in the country. Obviously, the New Jersey players listening in, you have the League Classic here in December. One of the largest single draws in the country. It's 160 teams typically, played over the span of 3 days. So shout out to Short Hills Club for really being such a bedrock of New Jersey paddle here.
Sorry.
There's a hold from Murphy Ong. You have 1-1 in the second set here.
Dave, I'm going to circle back to our last club.
I did miss one
because
in the speed round.
We missed one club in the speed round, and I was sorry that I just, went and gave you less and less time. So we're going to go real fast. Essex Hunt Club. Think about someone who embodies the spirit of platform tennis from Essex Hunt. Who do you have?
George Carter and Rich Antonek. Those are the guys from Essex Hunt. Really building great program out there, out in my neighborhood these days. So a big thank you to all the platform tennis advocates out there in the world.
The winner of this match, this is on the top half of the draw, will come out and play the winner of Rob Bacher. Bacher Baxter playing against Humphreys and Osis Koenig. And the winner of this match will play there.
Patty, we have a result. Humphreys, Osis Koenig have advanced into the quarterfinals.
I think they had a home field advantage, I got to say.
Big day for Chris Humphreys, obviously, but you know, playing in front of your home crowd, you want to perform. I'm sure he's very pleased to make it to the quarterfinal, but obviously has championship on his mind, playing in front of his home crowd.
What was the score of that match, Connor?
They won 6-0, 6-2 against Bacher Baxter.
I think that's because Chris's mom was here. I think when your mom shows up, gives you that extra special spark.
Chris Humphreys from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Sorry.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I don't think they have any paddle courts out there in Albuquerque, Patty.
There's one paddle court in Santa Fe.
Wow.
I played on it about 25 years ago.
That is good to know. You learn something new every day.
Concrete court.
Ooh, that sounds a little too dangerous for me.
One of the early ground level courts.
It'll be interesting to see how, you know, that plays out in the rest of the afternoon for Humphreys and Osis Koenig, only having to play 14 games. In what seems to be a little bit more of a quick match than what we're seeing here.
Yeah, totally different pace of play in that match for sure.
Dave, as a former player, would you rather go into your next match 10 minutes after the fact, or would you rather have that 4-hour wait?
You know, that's a really good question. I think in platform tennis, I do believe that you'd probably almost roll right into the next match. I do sometimes think, you know, from being involved in this tournament and other tournaments throughout all the years of doing this, that, you know, the players don't like sitting around waiting. You know, even when you go to a tournament here at Short Hills or Chicago or wherever you go that provide, you know, phenomenal lunches, a lot of the players would rather just keep going because, again, it is momentum, and, you know, you don't want those long breaks stopping your momentum from what you had going so far.
See, that was a great lob over Tomas Christian. You saw Eric West have to go way back and over to cover it. That's the spot I was talking about, and it kind of forced like a little bit more of an overhead error and a miss. So,
And you guys were saying before, if
there's
you're
something.
if you're Murphy Ong, you're looking for ways to rattle Christian West a little bit. And as you saw, Ong did that on that blitz. You know, you saw out of the peripherals, Ong coming up to net, West missing the overhead wide. If you're Murphy Ong, you want to create a little confusion, make them think twice on their shots, create a little hesitation, maybe get them out of position when they're at the net.
And we see here early on in the second set, Murphy Ong with a break point.
This is the start you want if you're Murphy Ong. First set, the first 3 games got away from them quickly. Hoping for a little momentum shift here.
And it'll be interesting to see if Murphy and Ong can actually, if they win this point, you know, how will West and Christian respond, because they've led this entire match and they've been pretty comfortable on the court, whether they've been at the net most of the time or the baseline. So, you know, I think this point's is crucial for both teams.
Absolutely, Dave. Christian West won in straight sets in their first round. You know, if they lose the lead in the second set, we'll see what happens here. See how they respond.
Dave, who would make a better paddle player, Brock Purdy or Patrick Mahomes?
Ooh. maybe Brock Purdy. He seems pretty cool as a cucumber out there.
Connor, who do you think?
Where you see Mahomes kind of scrambling a little bit more and getting out of the pocket a little and using his athleticism. But I think Purdy might have the mentality to just stay calm in tough situations.
You know, Patty, I think I have to agree with Dave on that one.
Ooh, that's not happens too often.
Obviously, Mahomes will rely on his legs. Very offensive, explosive player. Pretty more of a game manager. A little bit more patient in the pocket, which is something you.
Who is Brody?
Purdy, yes.
Purdy, yeah. Got it.
And you know, you want a patient paddle player out there. You don't necessarily need that super explosive offense. Don't need to be running around the court. You know, the best paddle players are cerebral paddle players out there.
Connor, that 10 on the table is for you. Thank you. Again, Tomas Christian pulling out a kind of a cut backhand overhead. As I said before, he has the ability to do it. You know, I think to steal your line, Patty, sometimes I feel like Tomas waits for the ball of life when sometimes he could do a little bit more with other shots. So I'm glad to see him pulling out that big backhand cut overhead on game point. Big game for them pulling it out. They were down double break point, and they held on to the lead.
If you're Christian West, you don't want to give any momentum to Murphy Ong. You want to hold on to that lead here. And Murphy to serve.
And even though it's the beginning of the game, but you know, you see a missed return there, and we didn't really see much of that from Christian and West in the first set.
You go. You go.
So we're starting out a little bit tighter than we did in the previous set, which is kind of allowing Murphy and Ong to sort of stay in it here. A couple of loose mistakes by the team of Christian and West.
Absolutely, and Eric West has been driving the majority of his return of serves, looking to create offense. I can't remember him lobbing too much in the first set, so you'll see him look to pull the trigger on that drive off the return, and then they'll lock into a long point here.
I think Ong and Murphy are doing a great job of not giving West that many good looks. I mean, they have played a real disciplined match themselves. They're behind score-wise, but they're not making it easy for Christian and West at all.
If we could call a timeout, and I can give Ong and Murphy a tip, I would maybe say at the net, maybe play more balls to Christian, only because he might be a little bit more predictable in what shot's coming next, where I think West is varying his shots a lot more. He's mixing in a lot more offense. He's mixing in more drives, where, you know, Christian's the steady Eddie until he gets the ball of, again, that he's really looking to hit. And, you know, fortunate for Christian and West, Tomas is taking those attacking balls and he's making 95% of them, and he's hurting them.
Absolutely, Dave. And West has no problem pulling the trigger on the backhand drive as well. You might see Christian look to be a little bit more steady, as you said, sending up a lob on the backhand side as opposed to the drive. So if you are Murphy Ong, want to look to keep balls to Christian's side of the court, missed backhand drive in the net.
And I like that swing from Tomas Christian there. You know, he was up there, he got the short.
He pulled the Russell
overhead.
Bentheim, two-handed backhand, made the move. Tried to just get up there, short hop that ball, pull the trigger. Why not? It's kind of fun.
I will tell you, I have noticed that in the early goings of the second set, West and Christian have not been at the net nearly as much as they were in the first set.
Great cut overheads here from Murphy Ong. With this warm weather, you will generate a lot more bounce when that ball hits a screen or deck off of that cut.
I got it. I got it. You got it. Here, you got it. Okay. Hit.
Fun exchange between Eric West and Andrew Young here at that point. Kind of went after him 5 or 6 times in a row there. Eric got the look, missed the drive, let cord. 40 love. A breather for Tom Murphy on his serve.
I got it.
And even to win that point, Murphy and Ong had to hit a ton of good shots.
Great cut overhead there from Murphy. Almost was a little unsure if he was taking Ong's ball, but obviously paid off with that cut winner.
See, right there, Ong didn't have to go for so much. Like, they're right here, and it's obviously tied up, Captain Obvious, Dave, and Captain Obvious, Connor, to all. And I just think that's where you got to play that first point really tough if you're Ong Murphy.
Really good shot there by Tom Murphy. I think he caught Christian a little surprised that he decided to drive that ball right at him.
I agree with what you said earlier, Patty, especially just holding your serve to tie. You don't want to let these quick points go away. Get away from you. You want the long points. You have the momentum after tying it up in the second set. So you want to play smart paddle here. Almost let Christian West make an error. Keep your momentum in it in the second set.
And I think, Connor, to build on your point, I think if you're Ong and Murphy, like, you have to make West and Christian win this game. And they've sort of given them 2 free points. You know, you don't want to give this game away with some, you know, a little bit of a, maybe not the best decision making or shot selection, but I think they, you know, there's a big game where they really want to make West and Christian work hard, and if they're going to win the game, you have to make them earn it.
Absolutely, Dave. And here we're seeing a little bit of a longer point. Murphy Ong probably realizing 2 quick points getting away from him, trying to lock in again. You know, for Murphy Ong, they might have came out a little slow in that first set and started to kind of figure things out towards the end, even though the lead got away from them. They're hoping to build on it here. That one-hander.
See that one-hander?
Yeah.
There you go.
Federer-esque with that one-handed backhand.
I'll tell you, not only was it a great shot, but he hit it into a great spot, which is what created the opportunity for them to take, for Murphy and Ong to take over the net.
Absolutely. He didn't overhit it. You know, added some topspin to it. You don't need the flat, heavy drive in this warmer weather. You want a little bit more topspin on some of your drives. You have 30 all. Eric West serving.
Short Hills event is one of 16 stops on the APTA Tour. And in the Tour Cup standings, which player on the court here, Dave, has accumulated the most points coming into the Short Hills tournament? Is it Murphy? Is it Ong? Is it Christian? Or is it West? What do you got?
You know, I think it's Andrew Ong. I mean, we throughout the course of this year, we've called his name a lot. He's, he does pretty well in every event he enters. He's had really good results for the year, so I'm going to say Andrew Ong.
Andrew Ong has climbed into the top 10 in the APTA Cup men's standings.
This is Andrew's second New Jersey paddle tournament this season. had him over at the Atlantic Classic a few weeks ago at the Ridgewood Country Club. Great to see Andrew traveling to play in all these events. I know it's not easy coming out of Chicago at times. So glad to have him out here in Short Hills.
Kudos to you, Connor, for your help in pulling off a great Atlantic Classic. You and your boss, Louis Vauclair, did a wonderful job. I know you guys had the opposite day of today. I believe it was about minus 1 degree during the late afternoon play that day.
You know, I saw umpire Mike Yakimski earlier. I'm like, why couldn't we get half of this weather?
That's right.
It was about a high of 20 at the Atlantic Classic, but we still had a great turnout from our membership in the Bergen County paddle community. But obviously could have used a little help from the paddle gods on that day.
And Patty, you know, as we talk about the APTA Cup, did you know the prize money is up $10,000 this year from last year $40,000 to this year $50,000?
Dave, you retired way too soon from tournament play. You could have been there for the money grab. Come on.
I was in during the era for the love of the game. Now it's for the love and the money.
In collaboration with the APTA, Fusion is at the forefront of personalized gear and apparel. Backed by a team of seasoned industry experts, we provide exclusive access to high-end products from top-tier retail brands, all poised for customization with your club logo, team name, or corporate branding. Our streamlined approach guarantees a hassle-free shopping experience, complemented by custom online storefronts and swift ordering. Visit www.gearbyfusion.com and let Fusion seamlessly weave your branding into elite merchandise.
All right, well, thank you, Connor. And also just want to let everybody know, you know, maybe if, Connor, you're available, maybe April 6th and 7th for the team nationals, for the men team nationals being played again in New Jersey, and the women's team nationals is going to be played out in Chicago again this year. So all of you, let's look to get some teams together, sign up for April 6th and 7th.
Dave, if you don't have a team, it's almost too late. There's already 48 women's teams signed up. I mean, Mike Riley out at, hosted by the Exmoor Clubs out in Chicago, just an amazing job, and there's no one better than Mike Riley running those events and just having a wonderful attitude, and he makes it so much fun for all the players, and tons of organization go into it. Kudos to Mike Riley and Greg Morgan for heading up men's and women's nationals, which has grown into really the biggest event in the sport of platform tennis. All levels can play. There's PTIs, as many of you know about. We're not going to have Dave talk about the PTI. We're just going to mention that you sign up by PTI, and your friends who play within like a band of 10 or 15 PTI points of yours, you guys can get a team together, 6, 7, or 8 players, and you'll all be guaranteed at least 4 matches throughout the weekend. Guaranteed a great time, great parties. But it's going fast. We're almost going to be on lockdown on those entries, so probably by the end of this weekend, no spots are left, Dave. But Dave, if you need to get off the air and go recruit your team at some point, you just let me know. Connor's already spoken for.
All right, well, I do see, just from the crowd here at Short Hills, I see Chris Yuko, longtime Short Hills Club member, former partner of mine for many years. Maybe I can start with him, and I think we could put a decent team together.
You know, let's talk about the Yukos here. Longtime players, members here.
Board members.
Lloyd. He's got some senior national APTA titles. Chris and Martha and Justin. Big players here for the Short Hills Club. And, you know, just start with the Yukos, Dave, and you've got 4. Now, I mean, you've got a chance of coming up with 2 others. Maybe George Carter, now that we thought to mention his name, would jump on your team.
You know, it's always special when Lloyd Yuko gets out in the paddle court, so hopefully Dave can make that work. But I did play Team National 2 years ago, Dave, when you guys hosted it at Fiddler's Elbow. Such a fun event, like Patty said.
Oh, and the food at Fiddler's Elbow?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, the pizza truck at lunch. Do you remember that, Connor?
Yep. Great sponsorships, great food trucks, food and drink, obviously. And like Patty said, there's a bracket for all levels. You know, your team doesn't have to be from your club. You can spread it out. So definitely a fun way to keep playing paddle into April.
And I just want to add for the team nationals, you know, obviously platform tennis, we mostly see doubles, so you are part of a team. But the team nationals, you know, there's more than just two players, and it really becomes sort of you see the camaraderie, and it is truly a team event. And I think, no matter what your PTI or your ranking in the country is, it's super fun for all players involved because it is that team building, team camaraderie.
In that last game, we saw Christian West break Murphy Ong. You have Tomas Christian here serving 4-2, 15 love in the second set. For Christian West, we were looking for that one more break to take a 2-game lead.
That was a great move by Ong. Snuck over there, saw where Tomas was going to hit that overhead, and just kind of pulled a move and executed. That was beautiful.
You go. Nobody.
It takes a lot to force a volley out of Eric West. That's all I'm saying.
Eric West playing tennis at Oklahoma State. Some Big 12 tennis is no joke out there in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma High School Player of the Year.
Obviously has the racket skills combined with the athleticism. So looking to have a big weekend here in Short Hills for Eric West. Good lob from Ong. I was almost hoping he would pull the trigger on a drive. Seeing that ball so high in the screen. But obviously hit a great lob now. Have the net with him and Murphy.
I think Weston Christian also thought he was going to get a drive on that ball.
I think you're right, Dave.
But again, they made a great decision to hit a lob. They kind of felt Weston Christian on top of the net. But you heard Tomas Christian on the air say, no worries. And you know what? They just go back, they lob the next ball up, and they keep the point going.
Great balling from Ong here. Overhead hitting the net cord, going a little wide. Christian serving 30-15.
Dave, you say you only get one returner serve error a set? You must have been good, because that's hard to do.
I lobbed a lot.
How many overhead errors do you give yourself a set?
It's a little bit of a trickier question.
Do you feel like you should miss more overheads in a set, or what's the allowance? More return serve errors allowed or more overhead errors allowed? Because I feel like...
Well, I think if you miss too many returns of serve or serves,
it doesn't get to overhead.
It never gets to an overhead. So, I'm going to have to still stick with... I believe the percentage is somewhere that, in platform tennis throughout the world, most points don't go beyond serve, return, volley 60% of the time. So if you could eliminate the serve and return errors, you have a 60% chance of winning every point.
Obviously, if you're Murphy Ong, looking to break here to keep yourself in the match.
Eric West giving Tomas Christian a little coaching advice there.
I believe he said don't reach.
Don't reach.
Yeah.
Great advice. Great advice.
And well received. It's nice when you offer your partner advice in the middle of a point, in a heated moment, and they take it really well.
Tomas does not look rattled or upset. Tell you, we are seeing in this game Murphy playing, moving around a little bit more, being a little bit more aggressive, mixing up his shots.
Hey, Murphy's done something that few people have done this year. I asked him what his best win in his paddle career the last couple of years, and he said, he was thinking about it for a second, and he said, I got a win over Salazar. And then he said, it was the first time he ever played a tournament, but I got a win over Salazar. I thought that was pretty cool.
There we see Murphy's big forehand again. A little bit of an ill-advised cross-court overhead by Eric West, one of the few mistakes that they've made.
Right, back-to-back drop points, and it's ad out for Christian West.
And you heard West say to Christian, stay with it, stay with it. Because that is a tendency that sometimes, you feel your partner and all of a sudden, an error creeps in, an error or two, and all of a sudden you feel like they might be jumping on that error train, and you got to get them right off that train. It has to stop immediately. And I think that was a little nudging, and all of a sudden, Murphy Ong, right where they need to be to have a chance to extend this to 3 sets, down 3-4 in the second set. Great background shot of the deck over at the Short Hills Club.
No better shot in paddle, Patty. You love to see when that paddle deck is full of people.
It will be this afternoon. And the great thing about this event, Dave, you were pointing it out earlier in the week. We were talking about what made this event so special, and you just said you have 6 tournaments going on, and everybody comes back and watches the action in the afternoon. A lot of tournaments, it's a little different than the golden days where people hung out, watched everybody else play. Now players are much more efficient, but they all do love the afternoon, Saturday afternoon and Sunday at Short Hills Club, and they all love coming back to watch the action live.
Great cover there by Tom Murphy, but I think he said that he touched the net, so lose that point.
Good spot from Tomas to realize Murphy really hadn't closed in over the middle. Flipped his paddle over on that forehand. The ball just floated long.
I was just going to say, Patty, you want to see him close the net there?
Sure, and close the middle at the same time.
Absolutely.
But Patty, to your point, I think for everyone watching, what made it a good spot was that Christian and West forced Murphy to flip his paddle. And we teach that all the time. We talk about it all the time where, you kind of have to, the more backhand volleys we can kind of stay on, a little bit cleaner, we know whose role is whose.
You got to give credit to Christian's drives. He won't blow you away with his forehand drive, but it is so consistent, has a good combination of spin and pace.
And he spots them very well.
Absolutely. He'll find you if you're off the net.
Just very quickly, going back to the previous game, that was the first time all match, I believe, that Christian and West made 3 unforced errors in a row. And it'll be interesting to see what happens, because in the first set, they were also serving at 4-2, but they held that game, and then they went on to break to win the set. So a little bit of a different setting going on right now, but let's see how it plays out.
Great volleying there from Ong on back-to-back drives from Eric West. You'll still see Murphy looking to find a nick with the roller if it's left short on the lob.
I would have loved to have seen that drive go down the middle.
Well, I was thinking the exact same thing, because I think that's what they can build on and generate a lot of offense for themselves. Assuming if they pull this match out and get deeper in the draw, they're going to have to make. You got to make. We talk about Salazar, who's not here, Rigolato. I mean, when those guys play, their maturity and their discipline around their driving is just phenomenal to me among everything else they do. But they drive to just see if the guy's going to blow the volley or not. They're not trying to miss, go for a crazy shot wide. They just apply constant pressure, and I think that's what I'd love to see West and Christian build up that pressure and just be able to consistently apply it. Once they get, Eric West can pull a trigger off in a drive like this, next ball goes. Instead of overhitting right there, just make consecutive drives.
Yeah, second missed drive for Christian West, as you said, Dave. They've been so successful driving down the line. You want more high percentage drives if you want to see him stay in this set here.
Well, and I also think that on the previous 2 points, the Patty's, kind of going back to Patty's point with Salazar and Rigolato, they drive to create space. I thought West and Christian, they drove the ball very well, and they created the space down the middle, and then they missed it wide 2 times in a row. Which is another one where I think, as a platform tennis player, you should only miss 1 ball wide per season.
Again, Dave, no one really plays to your ability level. You can go by that rules. And there's the risk reward. That's what these players who are playing at top part of the game, there's just a moment where you kind of feel like you have to pull the trigger. You got to put some pressure on your opponents.
Great play by Ong to keep the net. Looking to get one more point here to tie it up at 4-all in the second.
I think it's interesting because Ong and Murphy have definitely elevated their game here in the second set. You know, and I think Christian and West are playing really well as the same. You know, they're playing a really good game, but they're just missing, you know, a ball here and there, and it's making a big difference.
I feel like West and Murphy are playing a little bit defensively from the baseline, like not looking for as much, and it's kind of played into exactly what Murphy and Ong needed to have happen in this set, and we're at 4-all, second set, after Christian West won that 6-2. But I just kind of have the feeling, especially from Eric West over in that deuce court in that last game, it's almost just a little too defensive in a way, or like, again, I'm a big fan that you've got to lob with purpose. Instead of lobbing to just make the shot, lob it to create a little bit of confusion, and then like all of a sudden, this is a weird momentum swing here for Murphy and Ong.
Absolutely, Patty. And Christian West was just up 4-2 about 10 minutes ago. So quick swing and momentum, obviously. Murphy and Ong want to capitalize on that here.
I think they've lulled Murphy. I think they've lulled Christian and West a little bit, to Ong and Murphy's credit.
I think you're right.
They're super comfortable here.
The last few games where Christian West lost some points were on missed drives, be going forward a little bit too much, trying to find the easy point. You want to go back to what you were doing in the first set, be steady at net.
And I'm not sure Murphy and Ong have changed their strategy. I just think they're doing it a little bit better than they did in the first set. But I don't, think they've made drastic changes. You know, if in the first set they were keeping 20 balls in play per point, well, I think now they're keeping 30 balls in play per point.
Well, I think they were keeping 40, now they're keeping 60.
I think that might be more accurate.
Christian West looking to settle in here after a couple quick games and a couple quick points.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like West offensively can pull the trigger, forehand or backhand, as a lefty out of that deuce court equally well from what I can see. But I feel like it's gone away a little bit.
I got it.
Really big point here for both teams.
You know, and West not letting a lot of these balls go to the screens there, he does. But taking a lot of hard hit overheads off the deck, your wrist leaving them short. We'd like to see some go to the screen here. Maybe get a high ball that you can drive.
Right, but lob cross court to Murphy from that deuce court and
Absolutely.
create the look for yourself and look for it. I don't feel like he didn't really look for it off of Murphy's overhead when Murphy backed up there before. And then that was really flat-footed. They didn't give West the ability to make an athletic move for that drive, and he looked a little uncomfortable with it.
And here we see double break point for Murphy on 15-40.
looking ahead, 2 o'clock, we'll be streaming 2 of the women's quarterfinal matchups. And that women's draw. Fingers crossed, Dave, that this match is over by 2.
You go. Come on!
All right, and we see the break a serve there by Murphy Ong to take their first lead, 5-4 in the second set. Here in the round of 16 of the Short Hills Invitational Grand Prix. Christian and West winning the first set 6-2. But let's see, this is the first time Christian and West have been behind in this match, Patty. So do you think they need to do anything differently?
Yes. I feel like they're... I just feel like they've gone flat.
I like that word. I like that.
So you see Eric jumping around a little bit. And clearly you could see Eric was sitting on his two-handed backhand, not looking forehand at all by his position for the return of serve.
And if you're Christian West, I think the long points favor them. That's what they did so well in the first set. Kind of went for some easy points there in the middle of the second set. They were up 4-2, serving. Almost looked like they were going to run away with it. And then a couple missed drives, missed volleys. Got away from them there. So
a couple of faults on their serves.
Absolutely. So you want to avoid the quick points, obviously. But that's what you did so well in that first. You want to try to get back to that if you can. You want a long point coming out for this first serve here.
Right, and there wasn't much separation. We talked about that in the first set, and here in the second set, Murphy and Ong just, I do feel like they're playing, Tomas and West are playing into Ong and Murphy's match right here at this point. I feel like it has swung a little bit, and I just kind of feel like some of those longer points in the second set have seemed to favor Murphy Ong all of a sudden. I just feel that in the last 3 games.
Also, Patty, I totally agree with your point of the word you used where Christian and West, they look settled in at the net still like they did in the first set, but maybe just they're a little flat. I don't think they look frantic, they don't look frazzled, but maybe they are just a touch flat right now.
That was a really short overhead that Christian hit there, and Ong hit a real controlled shot and gives them the net.
And I think Ong and Murphy have spent more time at the net in the second set than they did in the first.
That's it.
Top half of the men's draw, Durant Mitchell, our tournament #1 seeds, defending national champs, beat Monik Cherwinski and Thomas Nolan 2-2 in their round of 16 matchup. Durant Mitchell are awaiting the winner of the Broderick Palmer Ostrom Rams match. That will be at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
All good, T. That's so bad. That's okay. Sorry. My fault.
Burris Nunez have advanced into the quarterfinals where they will come up against the team of Graham McNerney and Mark Powers. Burris and Nunez took out Prosenko and Vauclair in what looked like an amazing match, 4-6, 7-5, 6-4.
How about Guillermo Nunez breaking onto the scene this year?
Just another one of these brilliant players who had instant impact on the game.
I commentated on one of his matches a couple of weeks ago, and I really was impressed by his sort of calmness and his mentality out on the court during his matches. He doesn't rush. He hits his shots. Like I said, I was really impressed with his patience and his calm demeanor.
Takes after your brother, Dave, a lefty playing the ad court, which you don't see too often.
Although we are seeing it more these days. More than we have in the past.
not sure where we are in length of this match. Connor, maybe you can check with our producer over there.
I will tell you, as much as we're talking about this match in the second set, you know, this is the first game where Murphy and Ong have given quote-unquote easy free points with a couple of early mistakes, but, you know, we kind of see Tomas give one back there. And I think that's been a big difference where, you know, again, in this set, Ong and Murphy have made Christian and West win every point that they're getting. There's not many free points, to which we talked about at the end of the first set, where there wasn't a big difference, even though the score said 6-2.
Connor, what's our time of match so far?
Yeah, Patty, we're at the hour and 50-minute mark here in the second set. Andrew Ong typically finds himself in these longer matches. Likes to play steady.
Andrew Ong's going to play 3 hours every match.
You know, it's not just physically tough to go deep in these long matches. It's mentally tough as well. You have to be locked in for the entire time. You can't let quick games get away from you. You have to hold serve. So mentally and physically can be wearing on some of these players out there.
Seem to have a little bit of a break in the action here. Not quite sure why.
And it might be 5-all. I'm not certain.
But even at 5-all, this is an interesting time to take a break.
Yeah, I've not seen it. Hey, let's talk about the women, because, oh boy, the women in this draw, you know, we talked about such a strong men's field. The women's, we got Hannah Sabori. We've got our new #1 team in the country. Burris and Elliott took over being number one ranked in the women for the first time in a couple of years with their win out in Detroit. We've got interesting new pairing this year of Hauballer and Nicolescu. Nicolescu, phenomenal player, 3-time national champ, teamed up with Ellie Hauballer, and they have themselves, they've reached the quarterfinals where they're going to come up against 3-time national champ Liz Cruz, who's teamed up with B. Lopez this year. B is a local teaching pro out of Orange Lawn Club, and Hauballer, Nicolescu, Cruz, Lopez will be one of our stream matches we're hoping to share with you in a couple hours or less. We have Jessica Guillot teamed back up with Jacqueline Tenza. They've reached the semis and nationals. They'll be an interesting team. Haven't played that much this year, but Jess out of Pittsburgh Field Club and Swickley and the Edgeworth Club, always a strong partner. And Jess and Jacqueline really have potential to be a phenomenal team. They will have a tall task, though. They're up against the country's #1 team now in Burris and Elliott in their quarterfinal match. Alexander and Lalich have advanced to the quarters as well, where they'll come up against #4 seed team of Morgan and Sikora. We're on a little break. You know, and I think these guys deserve a break. They've been playing almost 2 hours here. Why not take a little break?
Is this the 2-hour timeout?
This is, everybody gets one timeout. You can go anywhere you want. I think Tom Murphy went to Starbucks. I wish I could have given him an order. There's Johan Durant standing out there. Can they call a lifeline? Can we sub?
Right, are we getting a sub?
Johan, come on in here. Take Tom Murphy's place.
Is this a line change?
Johan Durant from SA Rackets.
So what really interested me about the trainer was the endless opportunities with it. I've gone through a couple ball machines in my career before, and this really was a technologically advanced machine that I've never seen before. Digging into it a little more in depth, I really found the opportunities to use it in my advantage. All right, ladies, just 1 minute, we'll get started. Always trying to recreate these tennis ball machines into paddle ball machines to practice, and this was the first thing on the market that really came out. We have a robust membership here, very active in the paddle community, and I think the volley is going to kind of put us over top as a program. All right, ladies, welcome. All right, today we're going to go over our side back screens. So we've got the volley trainer out here with us today. We'll have 2 on this.
All right, and we are back in this round of 16 match between Tomas Christian and Eric West, taking on and leading 1-0 Tom Murphy and Andrew Ong. We're in the second set. Murphy and Ong are leading 5-4, but they are currently down 30-40.
I think Tom Murphy went to call Mike Raleigh and get some tips. What should we do with these guys? How do we get this in 3 sets? Dave, would you say, toward the end here of the second set, do you feel like that Christian and West are feeling a little pressure?
I don't know if they're feeling pressure. Again, I think their demeanor out on the court is still pretty confident and calm. Again, I just think they're making a couple of mistakes that they weren't making in the first set, and that was the difference. Happy to see that little bit of a break didn't affect the team of Ong and Murphy, that they were able to come out and play a good point, down break point. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, back.
You.
Yep. Go. Yep.
Again, I'm still going to stick with it where I just think for Murphy and Ong, they're not making, as I say it, they're not, giving West and Christian free points in this set. Yes, there was a kind of an easy point there, but they've taken away a lot more of them, and they're forcing Christian and West to have to win points, which we all know is very difficult.
I just marvel at how easy these guys make look volleying. You guys, we know that when someone unloads, you've got to keep your paddle still. You got to lower your body, use your legs for control, and all these players are just making some volleys look routine that are hardly routine volleys.
Right. And let's just remember that Christian and West have had 2 break points in this game. And, maybe they didn't make the best decision, maybe rushed it a little bit, and didn't wait for, again, Patty, to steal your line, the ball of life, to look to attack a little bit.
Dave, I don't have a trademark on Ball of Life, so you're happy. You can just use that anytime you want. You don't really need to throw credit my way.
All right.
If I'm Christian West, I almost want Murphy to drive. He will miss some drives at times.
Yeah.
There's a great cut from Christian. So you almost want to throw him a ball and bait him taking a big shot. Like you said, they've been following so well over the course of the match. But looking to hopefully create a couple of quick points and some errors from the other side.
I'll tell you again, another example of the ability that Tomas Christian has to win points at the net. I think if you look at this, he's definitely won a lot more points with cut overheads and drop volleys than he's lost in the 2 sets that we've seen out here so far. Really good big backhand there by Eric West, well defended by Ong and Murphy. Again, coming up with a great volley, which, as we know, the teams that are better volleyers stay in matches longer, pull matches out.
Murphy and Ong going to keep their overheads to the corners and side wires. As we said before, you have the lefty-righty teams. You have the backhands on the side wires for Christian West. If you leave it short over the middle, you do risk a forehand drive coming back at you.
Really good get there by Tomas Christian.
I mean, that's a 5th ball long dump just past the service line, and the first one that West pulled the trigger on. I think if he gets the ball, it's landing short with no pace. I'd love to see Tomas or Eric pull the trigger on a forehand drive. And again, I don't think they can hit a winner from the baseline on these guys because Murphy and Ong are great volleyers. It's just that they might get a shorter ball that then maybe they can pinpoint a little bit of a better spot, a more vulnerable volleying spot.
I was just going to say, Patty, if you're Christian and West, you don't necessarily have to drive to win the point, but drive or do something to take the net. That's where you've been so successful in this match, is winning points from the net. So trying to find a way either by lob or drive to force Murphy and Ong to give up the net and take it for themselves.
I also think Murphy and Ong are doing a great job of, shot selection, shot placement, not allowing Christian and West to create space. I definitely think they have something to do in this as well, with just better defense at the net, really good positioning, and there you go. It kind of forced an error there.
Steady play for Murphy and Ong. Mentally strong there at the net, sticking to their game plan.
Great point number 3, saved.
Great play by Tom Murphy to get out of the way and not get hit by that ball.
And that's what you want if you're Christian West, taking the net there off of the return.
You go.
Connor, when did you get rid of your man bun?
Good memory, Patty. I grew out my hair once, and it was during COVID. And I'm never going to do it again. It was worth the shot. I think we all, made some lifestyle changes during COVID. Mine was growing out my hair.
Grind time was a little bit of an issue, no?
Was an issue. Didn't take that into account.
Well, you're a guy, Connor. No offense. Guys don't think about stuff like that.
But I'm glad I did it one time. Made for some good pictures to look back on 20 years from now. Great volley.
See, I love that dipping ball that West just hit right there.
I got it.
I also think we want to point out with Murphy and Ong again, when West and Christian are getting the opportunities to attack a little bit or have offensive, chances, they're defending it better than they did in the first set. Again, to your point earlier, Patty, that they're volleying so well. This is, again, I think both teams are playing their game plan. And it took a great shot on the outside of the line now for Eric West to take over the net.
I'm just going to say, Dave, I feel like there have been some missed opportunities from Christian West to take the net, whether not blitzing off of a good lob or not pressing when you need to. As I said, you don't have to drive to hit the winner to end the point, but drive to take the net. These points have been so long once this game got to deuce. If you account the break from Murphy, this game is almost probably pushing 30 minutes here.
Feels like 40.
It does. Great dig.
Really great get.
You can see Ong kind of pressing a little bit. He has a foot or two over the baseline. He's looking for the blitz, just waiting for the right opportunity. That's the one he was looking for.
That was a big-time point from Murphy right there. Handled a really difficult overhead that West threw him a couple shots earlier and just was sitting over there. Kind of an ill-advised overhead placement possibly from West right there.
And we have set point number 1.
Really clutch forehand drive from Murphy there. You could see he was looking for that high ball on the screen, just waiting for the right moment. Still a set point here.
And I think on set point, this is a much more comfortable place for Christian and West to be in, being at the net. As we spoke about how they did spend so much time in the first set up at the net. Really good close there by Tomas Christian.
Yeah, great anticipation from
recognizing,
Tomas.
yep, the drive was coming. Great get by Andrew Ong there. That was not as easy as he made it look.
You can see, Dave, after that forehand from Murphy, Christian West are now playing everything to Ong. Don't want to make the same mistake. Keeping away from Murphy's forehand drive. Kind of sending a few more balls to that ad court. And there we have our second set.
We'll be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by My Paddle.
Ready for a whole new
To the APTA Tour. We are live from the Short Hills Club bringing you the 2024 Short Hills Grand Prix. We are currently, I'm David Broderick along with Connor Breen. We are currently in a men's round of 16 match between Tomas Christian and Eric West taking on Tom Murphy and Andrew Ong. And we are currently at 1 set all with Christian and West winning the first set 6-2. Murphy and Ong taking that second 6-4. And Connor, what do you think has been the difference here in the two sets?
You know, I think Murphy Ong came out a little bit slow in that first set. Kind of had a little trouble getting into a rhythm, a couple errant missed drives. And even going into that second set, he had Christian West serving up 4-2. So there was a change in momentum, a couple quick games going in favor of Murphy Ong. But it came down really to the decision making of Murphy and Ong playing steady paddle, not losing any dumb points, but at the same time, Christian West not executing when they need to. At the end of the day, Dave, controlling the net has been the biggest factor in this match. Both teams haven't necessarily been driving to hit winners, but driving to take control of the net. Whoever has the net has been winning the majority of these points, so we're pushing the 2 hours. That third set, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here.
No, and I agree with you 100%, kind of like we talked about after the first set.
Plug that in.
You know, even though the score was 6-2, it was only separated by a couple of points here and there. And, you know, obviously in the second set, Murphy and Ong kind of tightened those things up. And, you know, here we are, 1 set all with 1 set to go to see who's going to make it to the quarterfinals here at the Short Hills Invitational Grand Prix.
And, Dave, I think this first game is going to be very important. There was such a swing in momentum there in that second set. Again, Christian West was up in that second set, 4-2, serving. Lost 6-4. So if you're Christian West, you want to win that first game going into this third set, kind of get some momentum back in your favor.
No, and I think, again, we spoke about it earlier. We talked about it. We talked about it early on. You know, Christian and West had 3 break points in that last game. And you know, let's see what happens here now in the third set. But, you know, Murphy Ong, I believe, only had 1 set point. They converted, which is, you know, quite efficient for them and a good thing. You know, let's see how that plays out, where, again, Christian and West had opportunities where that they could have made this a 5-all set. But, you know, again, here we are about to start a third set. The players just grabbing some water and Gatorade. And
you know, when we saw Murphy leave the court earlier in the middle of a game, and we have Derek Yo saying that looked like he might have been retaping an ankle or adjusting a brace. He might have tweaked something on a volley late in that second set. So we'll see how he does here.
We see their members of the referee committee, Mike Yashimsky and Mark Bliss. Longtime APTA referees.
Mark Bliss out of the Short Hills Club here the host club, longtime member, longtime paddle player. Mike Yakimski out of Indian Trail Club up in Bergen County. Great to see all the support of the New Jersey paddle community coming out and making this one of the best paddle weekends of the entire year. You have Tomas Christian at the net in the blue, and his partner Eric West at the baseline, lefty in the gray. Christian West played this event last year and have had some success playing together. One thing I like about this season, Dave, is the different partnerships. Whereas in years past, you kind of see the same guys playing most of the big tournaments together. But with each draw that comes out, you kind of see a new team, a couple surprises in the draw. So the season has been a lot of fun with the different pairings, not your traditional matchups. Christian West being one of them.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's exciting. It's for everyone out there watching to see different partnerships, but also, we want to mention a lot of new emerging teams coming out, making their way through the draw, in different events, different tournaments. So that's kind of really exciting, both on the men's and women's side. So, I think this is all leading up to the Nationals, of course, and, there are a few more events in between there, but it definitely is going to make for a fun end of the season for the paddle tour. It looks like we have all 4 players on the court.
You do see Tom Murphy with an ankle brace, a little bit of a limp there. Like I said, had to leave the court in the second set to take a medical timeout, kind of adjust that ankle, whether he re-gripped it or had to tape something here.
All right, good set, guys. Third set.
All right, so Connor, we're about to start the third set. We look like Eric West is about to serve. A little interesting here, going to an I formation. Maybe Christian and West making an adjustment early on here. We haven't seen that too much in the previous 2 sets.
I think the idea behind that formation is to take away potentially a cross-court return of serve drive from Tom Murphy. That forehand drive of his is the best offensive weapon they have as a team. And if he can get that drive, there it is. I was just about to say, if he can get that forehand drive in successfully, that's going to be the difference maker here in that third set.
I think that's the first time, that Tom Murphy has kind of gone for a quote-unquote risky type shot in a long time. And so let's see how that, decision-making for all 4 players is going to play out here in the third set. Because again, I think as much as shot making and not missing physically is going to play a big part of this third set. We saw in the first 2 sets that decision making and shot selection was a huge factor in the first 2 sets as well.
It's a great drop shot volley from Tomas Christian.
No, and I really love that shot, and I was thinking about it earlier on that, he's closed the net so well so many times, and he's played the ball deep back where I would have liked to have seen a drop shot from him. And there we go, we have it. And I promise I really was thinking, why hasn't Tomas hit a drop shot yet?
I believe you, Dave.
And I think we could say the same thing for Tom Murphy, doing a great job of closing the net. Maybe try to end the point with a drop shot, even though, again, with the 60-degree weather, we know that's not a great option all the time, but maybe at this stage of the game, it's something different.
The volleying has been great so far in this match, and like you said, for those just tuning in, we have almost spring paddle weather out here at the Short Hills Club. It'll be high 50s all day. No sun, nice and cloudy. drive you want if you're Eric West. I was just about to say, you want to pull the trigger on some more drives when Murphy Ong leaves those overheads over the middle. You have 2 forehands in the middle as a lefty-righty team. So anything short over that middle, you want to pull the trigger on it. You want to play steady, but at the same time, you don't want to be too passive.
And I think you have to agree that, you know, throughout the course of this match, I think all 4 players are playing really well. And there's not a whole lot separating this match.
I don't think so, Dave. Aside from a few quick games, the decision making has been great. The volleying has been outstanding.
Again, you see another big cut overhead by Tomas Christian. And you know, I think Tomas has hit a lot of really good overheads. And, you know, you have to give credit to Andrew Ong for he's come up with some amazing gets over in that backhand corner.
He has. He's had some great digs. Tomas has done a great job of finding that side wire, which could be tough.
All right, well, there we have it. Our first game in the 3rd set goes to Tomas Christian and Eric West. Again, we're in the round of 16 men's draw at the Short Hills Invitational in beautiful Short Hills, New Jersey. If you're in the local area, stop by. There are matches going on all day long and as well tomorrow morning. We have Andrew Ong looking like he's going to start serving for the team of Murphy Ong here in the 3rd set.
I think that first game was so important for Christian West. After letting some quick games get away from them, and that 2nd set kind of put a Band-Aid on it. Get the momentum back in their favor. There's Murphy closing that great volley. He's been doing that most of the match. Two missed returns in a row for Christian West.
Yeah, Murphy's doing early on here in this first service game for Murphy and Ong. He's doing a really good job of closing the net. You know, we know the first volley is the toughest shot in platform tennis, and Murphy's doing everything he can to prevent Ong from having to make that shot. You see a little cat and mouse there by Eric West, coming up with a little soft shot, getting a point.
Bounce that. 40-15. Back up.
Eric West really taking control of this point.
Just tell him, get out of the way.
Right. He was determined. He was determined.
Oh, unlucky for Christian West. Very lucky for Murphy Ong. We got one apiece here in the 3rd set.
And as we're still early in the 3rd set, it's like, are those things going to, you know, have an impact on the match? Is that what's going to cause the final outcome here today? Is, you know, just a nick here, a leg cord there?
Uncommon mistake there from Tom Murphy. I don't know, might have changed his mind at the last second. 2 quick points here in the 3rd game of the 3rd set. He gets it right back after that fault.
Yeah, no, really good serve, aimed at the nick. We saw that earlier on in the 1st set that helped Tomas Christian out serving a couple times. basically really two really good serves back to back to the ad side of the court to Andrew Ong by Tomas Christian, you know, winning the point. So it's 2-1, and here again in the third set, Tom Murphy to serve.
But three out of the 4 players have held so far in the third. I think a break here for Christian West could sway the momentum in their favor, get it back. Like I said, they've had control for most of the match, and then lost a few quick games there in the second, and yet of a fault from Tom Murphy.
You know, again, as we talk about what's going on in this match and how tight of a match it is and how close, you know, I think early on when Christian and West have had a little bit of a lead, they were able to capitalize on it and create separation. I think Ong and Murphy are doing a really good job of closing that and not allowing it to happen.
Yeah, so Eric West called that ball long, then got overturned by the umpire.
30-15 here for Tom Murphy serve.
I like Tomas Christian mixing in a few more drives there.
Right, again, it just takes a little bit, you know, makes Murphy and Ong sort of guess a little bit more, or it doesn't make Tomas so predictable.
Right. You're not necessarily driving to force an error, but maybe hoping to leave a volley short where you can step into it on the next one.
Right, and even to do something different, you know, out of character or out of the pattern you've previously been playing. Just to remind everyone that the winner of this match will take on the third seed team of Chris Humphreys and Felipe Osas-Koenig to follow.
40-15. Yeah.
Interesting, it feels like the pace of play has picked up just a little bit maybe in this third set.
Yeah, Dave, compared to the first and
First
second
two,
set, yeah. Nearly 2.5 hours, the first 2 sets going into the third. Now we're at the verge of 2-all after just about 10 minutes.
You know, and it is interesting because, as we talked about earlier, Christian and West were serving to go up 5-2 in the second set.
They were. I think the faster pace might be because of that, those long first 2 sets. Maybe both teams are getting a little antsy. Maybe a little more prone to pull the trigger on a short ball as opposed to sending it up as a lob. Looking to take a few more chances. Remember, they have a match right after this. Even if they win, if it goes 3 hours, you still got to play a quarterfinal. You have 2-all. All 4 players have held their serve in this third set. I would like to see Tomas Christian take some more overheads here. He's had a lot of success so far in this set where they've been on serve. Got Murphy on his back foot there. Eric West serving 15 love.
Yeah, no, that was a good overhead. Hit it right at him. Kind of caught him wrong-footed on the baseline.
I like the communication on the court from Christian and West.
Well, I think at this level of play there just can't be indecision.
No.
The ball just moves too fast that it's going to be by. It'll be by you. So you really have to have good communication at the net. You have to be within a system of play, knowing who's going to hit certain balls. And of course, every once in a while we scramble, but we try to steady the ship as much as we can and as quickly as we can.
I want to give a shout out to Kieran Fitzgerald, who's tuning in from Ireland. Kieran, a former pro at Canoebrook Country Club here in the Summit Short Hills area. Played tennis at University of San Diego. Kieran, hope you're well.
Are there platform tennis courts in Ireland?
Listen, I would vote for that, Dave. Maybe a little trip out to Ireland, play a little platform. Who needs golf out there?
The Dublin Open. Brought to you by Guinness. I think we got to talk about again. I don't think there's a big difference in what's been going on at any point, except Ong and Murphy have just made it tougher for Christian and West to win points. But again, all four players, this has been a great match, obviously based on the score and where we're at and length of time, but all four players are playing really well.
Absolutely, all four players volleying so well. The decision making has been great, great anticipation. There's the drive that Eric West has been looking for. On this warmer weather, guys will be missing volleys deep today. West serving to go up 3-2 here in the third. 40-15. There's Tomas Christian with the I formation to take away that drive from Tom Murphy.
Just to remind everyone out there, we are here live in Short Hills, New Jersey at the Short Hills Invitational Grand Prix. You're watching a round of 16 match between Tom Murphy to the left of your screen at the net and Andrew Ong to the right at the net. And on the bottom of your screen on the baseline, you have Eric West to your right and Tomas Christian to your left in the blue shirt. And we are at 2-all in the third set and final set, with the winner moving on to the quarterfinals to play Humphreys and Osis Koenig.
Christian West retaking the net. And Volley is the official sponsor of the APTA for the 2023-24 season. Backed by cutting-edge technology, including its unique vision software, Volley is the innovator of the first AI-enabled racket sports training that stimulates point of play. By enabling players and pros to record sessions on the court, Volley delivers off-the-court player analysis and support from your phone. It only takes minutes to sign up. Ask your pro about a Volley lesson today. For more information, visit volley.com.
All right, well, here we go in the third set. Yeah, that was wide but close. We have Andrew Ong serving, down love 15, down 2-3 in the third and final set.
Not to be Captain Obvious here, but whoever gets broken, I don't think is going to come out on top in this match.
It's looking like it's getting tougher and tougher, and you know, waited. Eric West creating space, and you know, last 3 points, he looks like he's taking this game over.
And first missed volley we've seen from Tom Murphy in a long time there. He's been so consistent. His anticipation has been great, especially, back-to-back unforced errors there from Tom Murphy.
I think the volley error, too, was in part Eric West changed up his pattern a little bit. He went down the line and kind of went behind Murphy. All right, so Connor, I think, like they say, this is deja vu all over again. Christian and West serving at 4-2. We've been here a few times.
Did see this in the second set. Christian West up 4-2 after a pretty convincing first set win.
And again, just to reiterate, convincing by score, but it was only separated by a couple of points, as was the second set.
You know, I think it's going to come down to who's mentally stronger. Even when you have the lead in that third set, a couple points can sway the whole momentum of the match. You want to be locked in the whole time, not make any dumb decisions. Great volleying.
Really good volley, and that was a well-spotted drive by Murphy. But again, I think that was, everyone says, oh, that was unlucky and unlucky. But you know what? It was all set up by the short overhead to Tom Murphy's forehand. That really got Christian and West sort of in trouble.
They were already bailing too. Christian West have held serve every game so far in this third set. Great volley from Tomas.
Again, maybe on that, if he could, maybe try a drop shot, maybe there, but you know, the match is so tight, you don't want to give away points because, again, as we've talked about, winning points is getting harder and harder as this match is progressing. Great get there by Andrew Ong on a drop shot that we talked about.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Switch. I gotcha.
Wow. Christian West being able to hold the net there was outstanding. A couple great volleys from Tomas Christian. There's that one-hander from Murphy. West leaves the volley a little wide. Yeah, same thing, David. Christian West off the break, up 4-2 in the third. Same thing happened in the second set.
Good volley.
And again, West and Christian won that point, but I don't know how long that's going to last, letting Tom Murphy bomb forehands.
Yeah, that combined with, you know, even though he missed it, Andrew Ong is going to be blitzing throughout the rest of the set.
And I'll be honest, I think to win this match for Christian and West, when they're at the net, I think they've got to try to avoid the Tom Murphy forehand as much as possible.
Absolutely.
You know, when they're in trouble at the net, I just think it might be safer to hit it to Andrew Ong's side of the court, where I think Tom Murphy's looking, look, another
Even there,
big
yeah.
forehand.
Risky shot. Great volleying from Tomas. Would like to see him, I think you're right, Dave. I would like to see Tomas take some more overheads, putting it to the ad side screen on Andrew's side of the court.
Because again, I think we talked about it where, you know, Ong is gonna wait for a little bit more of a predictable opportunity where, you know, when they go over to Tom Murphy over there, every time it goes by his forehand, it seems like it's an opportunity for him.
Absolutely. He can almost create offense off of any ball that goes to his forehand side. You run the risk of getting beat on a drive. Credit to Christian and West though with their great volleying.
Volley,
yeah,
right.
That's what's been keeping them in this third set.
Just for everyone out there watching, I mean, this is a great round of 16 match, so you can only imagine what's in store for you for the rest of the day. I just hope you all have time to be able to enjoy it and watch it.
And if you are watching, if you're in the Summit Short Hills area, please come on by. We got perfect battle weather. High 50s, no sun. Free beer, you can't beat that, David.
It does add to the atmosphere. We're starting to see the crowd filling in. Players that have played in other draws throughout the event starting to make their way back here to the Short Hills Club. Christian and West have got a little bit closer to the hole they're in here at 15-40 to bring it back to 30-40 currently. Again, they're in the lead, 4-2 here in the third set.
Such a big point in the match. Obviously looking to hold here to go up 5-2.
I also think for the team of Ong and Murphy, you know, you're seeing Murphy take a lot more of those balls down the middle. I think it's important for them to keep Murphy involved. Like, I think he wants to hit a lot of touches because, again, I think he's the guy that's bringing the uncertainty for West and Christian at the net, as we saw another big forehand.
There's that missed forehand from Murphy. I think you're right, Dave, him playing that due side. You want to see him cheat towards the middle. Look to connect on that forehand drive if you can.
Well, right now it seems that his forehand is the way they're winning points from the baseline.
It is.
And it's the way they're creating opportunity from the baseline.
The difference maker in the match, as I said before, if he can connect at a high rate on that forehand, keep his forehands in play, he will win points. Christian West have been doing a great job of volleying this match, but they're not going to bat 1,000 with that big forehand, so you want to try to put yourself in a position to connect on it when you can. That's a great drive from Eric West. Ong was a little off the net. Can't beat deer in the headlights on that type of drive. Want to step in and close.
And again, I think if you watch this match, and yes, based on the score and the way the points have been played, I think both teams are very similar. Both teams are very similar in, you know, each player's role. You know, I think for the West Christian team, Eric West is going to be a little bit more unpredictable on his offensive counter or his offensive opportunities, just like for Ong and Murphy. Tom Murphy is a little bit more of the unknown is, you know, when is he going to drive, when is he going to lob? So You know, it's a very good, even matchup, and hopefully everybody out there watching is enjoying it because this is really a great match.
And we saw Christian West go up 5-2 in the third there in that last one. Andrew Ong just missing a volley at the net, a little long, probably weather-induced. If it's 30 degrees out, true paddle weather, that ball's staying in play.
And if you look at it, is this the separation that Christian and West needed that they did have in the first set, but they didn't convert in the second set? Is this going to be the factor or the cause for them to take this third set?
I think so, Dave, especially after that hold, getting it there in the third set where they didn't get it in the second. I think that's going to be a huge confidence booster for them. You know, you feel a little bit looser pulling the trigger on the drives, being up 5-2 as opposed to, you know, maybe a 3-all or even a 4-3. Great cut from Ong. I think, to answer your question, I think that is the separation they wanted. Wow, great hands.
And you watch those drives there by West, and I was going to say, you know what, he's done such a great job of hitting the ball out wide that there was the ball down the middle to create that opening, create that separation, you know, a little bit of uncertainty by Ong and Murphy at the net.
Absolutely, and to go back to your point before, being up 5-2, you're gonna pull the trigger on a lot of those drives as if you're only up by one game. You have a lot more confidence on some of these shots, and here we go, 2 points away from match. Got to be feeling good here if you're Christian West.
And listen, and I think you have to, from watching this match or watching the last 5 minutes of this match, Eric West has really inserted himself into it. Like, he's been winning points.
He has.
And that's not an easy task, as we all know, especially at this high level of play. But Eric West has been winning points.
Yep, he's driving the forehand and the backhand, able to find Murphy or Ong off the net at times. Good dig from West. I think you're going to see Christian West go for some big shots here with this lead. Great volley.
Really good volleys. And again, just for everyone watching, you know, as much as we say great volleys, you know, again, once Tomas Christian hits that ball out wide, Ong knows it's his ball. But hopefully he's opening up the middle of the court for the next drive. It's just that Ong did such a good job of making a great volley.
If you are Murphy Ong, you want the long points, especially on serve here. They control the net. You don't want to let anything get away from you here.
Another great volley.
Wow. Great volleying from Murphy, especially with Tomas Christian stepping into the court. It's one thing to volley that ball when you're returning a drive from the baseline, but Tomas Christian was taking that drive almost at the service line. And a quick swing here.
But how about the volley by Murphy? If he misses that volley, it's
exactly
double match point. And again, to go from being up 30-15 to being down 30-40, Christian and West have played amazing.
Exactly. Still think if you're Christian and West, still go for it with this lead in the third up 5-2. Take chances here. You're serving even if you go down 5-3.
And again, I think when we talk about taking chances and going for it, I want to see the chance, I want to see the probability 75% chance, not the 25% chance that you make it. Because I don't think they want to give away free points. What a close by Tomas Christian.
Christian West back to 2 points away from taking this match.
And again, maybe the experience that Tomas has in these big, long matches.
All right, Dave, and we have our first match point of the day here.
This is match point number 1. Great coverage of the corner there by Eric West.
Clutch overhead
Really?
from Andrew Ong to keep them alive here, saving a match point. No need to rush here if you're Christian West. Keep looking for that right ball.
And again, Eric West is still putting a lot of pressure on Ong and Murphy at the net with his drives.
He is.
That's a good swing. You know, just unfortunate that he clipped the top of the net there.
Wow. All right, Dave, so after holding off match point, Murphy Ong is able to hold, and we have Eric West serving for the match in the third set. Close ball here. I don't know if we can totally see it from the stream, but every shot counts here late in this third set. It's an unnecessary swing there from Tom Murphy when you're down 3 games to 5.
Well, the good news was that they were up 11-15 in the game.
Yours. Yeah. Yours.
Yours.
We're good. Fine. Come in. Wait. Yes.
And there's that move from Tom Murphy shifting over towards the middle, able to get the ball in his forehand. And again, Dave, we talked about this earlier. You know, why even hit it there? Because that's been such an effective shot for Murphy Ong. If you put it to Ong's side of the court, yes, he's steady, but he doesn't have that offensive weapon like Murphy does.
Yours.
Well, and I think from watching this, you know, to the credit of Christian and West, they've kind of taken Ong's ability to move and his quickness and his blitzing out of the game a little bit. But I still think they're hitting too many balls to Murphy's forehand, which is, again, that's right now the biggest reason they're winning points, Murphy and Ong from the baseline.
See, even a ball like that to Ong, Christian is leaving the ball short to him purposely, and you know Ong's not going to pull the trigger on it as a drive.
You. Yours, yeah. Help me. You hit it.
Great dig from Andrew Ong after the lefty cut overhead from Eric West.
I can only chuckle at that get. That get was so good.
What do you think, Dave? Are you keeping your hammies if you go for that dig there?
Oh, man.
be really careful putting it to deuce side screen on Tom Murphy's forehand.
Ooh, Murphy got the ball he wanted.
You know, might have been just half a step too late, shifting towards that middle. Might have forced that shot into the net. Just a little deep on that lob from Tom Murphy. And Dave, we have match point number 2 here in the third set.
We do. Let's see what happens here. Look at that, look at that. Another reach there, a little bit of a reach by Tomas Christian.
Yeah, a little bit of a punch there from Tomas where you don't need it. He's been getting that volley all day.
I mean, you have to give credit to Ong and Murphy. I mean, they've played the critical points. Perfect.
They have, Dave. Especially dropping that first set 6-2. Being down in the second set 4-2. And Christian West able to retake the net here.
I like that. I like Eric West hitting the big drive, and then, like, again, he spotted that one really well. You know, that he didn't overpower them, he didn't hit a winner, but he spotted that ball really well to win the point. We're set up winning the point. Uh-oh, here we go.
Match point number 3.
We see the reach volley again, but this time it's still in play.
Yours. Yeah. Yours.
Tom Murphy kind of missing in some push drives. Seeing Christian West a little off the net. Still going to be looking for that forehand.
You know, and I still seem to think, even though it's match point down, you know, I think, well, there we go.
All right, there it is, David.
And we have our winners, Tomas Christian, Eric West, taking down Tom Murphy and Andrew Ong, 6-2, 4-6, 6-3 from the round of 16 match here at the Short Hills Club. And, you know, Connor, I just think, you know, that match came down to a couple of points here and there. I thought all 4 players played a great match. You know, there was really no letdown among the play from any of them. And,
you need to, like, kick, you need some,
you know,
like,
what do you
pound
think
your
about
legs
that?
to get the blood going?
I think you're right, Dave. All 4 players played great. I don't think there was a weak link on the court, so to say. I did feel that Christian West kind of had this match most of the way through. I know they dropped that second set, but came away with the lead in the third. Kind of felt like they were in control, even though they let a few games get away from them. But overall, great playing from all 4 players. And I'm looking forward to see what this team does going into the quarters.
No, absolutely. And if I could just add one other thing, like I said, towards the end of that third set, I really thought Eric West kind of took control of the match and really inserted himself in a very positive way.
Absolutely.
So, Connor, thank you. And that's a wrap from the Short Hills Grand Prix round of 16 men's. Please stay tuned all afternoon, as matches will be live streamed all day.
Perfect.
So what really interested me about the trainer was the endless opportunities with it. I've gone through a couple ball machines in my career before, and this really was a technologically advanced machine that I've never seen before. Digging into it a little more in depth, I really found the opportunities to use it in my advantage. All right, ladies, just 1 minute, we'll get started. always trying to recreate these tennis ball machines into paddle ball machines to practice. And this was the first thing on the market that really came out. We have a robust membership here, very active in the paddle community, and I think the volley is going to kind of put us over top as a program. All right, ladies, welcome. All right, today we're going to go over our side back screens. So we've got the volley trainer out here with us today. We'll have two on this side hitting. So the cool part about the volley is during lessons when I'm able to use it is I really get a more in-depth connection with my clients. So when I have a lesson out on the court, I can set up the volley to feed a screen, and I don't have to be on the other side of the court kind of yelling to them what they need to change, what they need to do while I'm hitting. I'm really using my time with them right next to them to make those changes quicker so they can have more success in the long term. Bridget's on the net, Robin sliding over. We are going to be beat by this cross-court lob a lot. I'm Blake Anderson, Director of Rackets at Fairmont Country Club. Try the volley at your club and you won't regret it.
At Corient, we believe wealth management begins and ends with you. Because the more personal the solution, the more powerful it is. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build and provide unlimited access to the collective and profound knowledge of experts across the country. It's time your wealth strategy was as sophisticated as you. It's time to join Corient.